All right, everybody, welcome back in to another episode of the Lesko Podcast. My light isn't bright. I just have the sun coming in, leaving my window open. Welcome in, guys. We're just going to talk general Penn State talk, basically. So, how you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, not too bad. What's up, guys?
Same here. Good day.
Yeah, so I've just been watching golf and doing laundry and stuff. But, yeah, so real quick, check out LeskoPodcast.com and the merch store if you can. That's the best way to support us. I put up a new line, which is the We Are Whiteout line. So hopefully Brett and I have some plans for the games this year. Hopefully they work out and we can wear this stuff to the whiteout. So if you guys
cool.
if you guys ever do get around to buying merch, then get some for the whiteout. So it's all on there.
That's really cool.
Kids, babies. Yeah, so I'm if I go to the whiteout this year, I'm probably gonna wear one of the jerseys, one of the full button jerseys.
Yeah.
So I also spoke to someone last night on the phone, and I'm not gonna say who, but they're in the know, and I will kind of paraphrase some of what we talked about. Basically, who we had before as the coach, it was really bad. Like, not a good situation at all from day one. And the guy we have now is a perfect fit. So we're in a much, much better spot. And this guy is very knowledgeable. He is, he's just, maybe you'll find out who he is soon. But everything we've said on here, pretty much, like he said to me, and I've never talked to him before. And we really don't have much insider info except for the recruiting. That's about it. So we don't really have any connections we have some to the team, but nothing where we would know this stuff that we've been saying on this show. So the fact that this guy said that and it lines up with what we said is pretty cool, because just kind of shows like what general observation can do and what a diehard fan can kind of see where maybe the casual fan cannot, stuff like that. So, and we all have kind of had this opinion on here. I mean, I think I was ahead of both of you in saying fire Franklin. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. But I guess from day one, he wasn't liked, and he did some stuff that wasn't cool. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that for right now. But
basically, our conclusion on what we thought and what we've heard is it's all true. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Yeah. And it's good to know that we're not crazy. Other fans aren't crazy for thinking these things, and that our head's in the right place, and now the program's set up to be in the right place under Matt Campbell, and the culture is what was broken, and that's the biggest thing that needs to be solidified for a program to move forward and be successful. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you guys know what he said, and literally, like I've talked to you both in depth. What we've said on here, what I've said, what I've been saying, and what you guys are saying now that you're on to is exactly what he said, which is like, imagine that. It's like common sense, maybe, something like that, for all of us to kind of just think this stuff with, yeah. So there was just like a couple things. The culture last year was horrible. Guys not going to class. The locker room was lost. we've said that on here before, but it was confirmed. Yeah, so it was not good last year, and I'm telling you, man, like Virginia Tech, they don't know what they got themselves. If they're okay with just winning and everything else, like just burning in flames, then fine, that's fine. But it'll catch up to them, Unfortunately for them, because Virginia Tech deserves better. They do, in my opinion.
I know. So, yeah, I used to really like back in the day. The Black Diamond game was actually one of my favorite games to watch back in the day.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They had Frank Beamer, a legend. We had Joe Paterno, and we were followed up. He was followed up by a clown here. He's being followed up by a clown there at Virginia Tech. So, saw an interview. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
I saw a clip of that.
Yeah. Thanks, George. Yeah, he did. He's an absolute clown, but that's nothing we haven't said before. But anyway, the state of Penn State right now. So I say that. I preface what we're going to say by saying that because where we're at now is, and we've talked about it, but we're just going to talk more about it, basically. We're never going to be the school that spends a ton of money on NIL. And this was also confirmed. Because one of the factors is we're not in a city. We're not in a like a big hopping area. We're in the middle of Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. There's not much around State College. That's one factor. We have the largest living alumni in the world, and Matt Campbell is trying to build those relationships with alumni and lettermen because there will be people that I think donate now because of the respect that's being shown to, our history. So I think that'll turn around, and the powers that be will also be involved. And hopefully the administration doesn't hold them back too much, which they always have. But yeah, it's we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot. We have a good class. We lost some guys, but it's a great culture, and it's just a totally different environment now. It's completely different.
Yeah.
So,
and Mark, that was something I was telling you the other day, saying, you can't look at recruiting today the way you used to. When we were kids, it doesn't work that way anymore.
No.
There is no recruiting season. There's the whole year is part of it, and it culminates in your transfer portal. And you have to think when you're looking at your NIL, you have to look at it the way that an NFL team would look at their cap. And over the course of the year, your contracts are going to change, who you can keep, who you can't keep. That stuff all changes as the year goes on. And it's going to, even the result of your season dictates how you spend that money, right? So, you look at a team that wins the Super Bowl, they have to make decisions about who helped them win the most, what age they are, the impacts and that stuff. So you have to be careful about how you approach recruiting. If you approach it the way you used to, where you think this is recruiting season and you blow your NIL and you blow your money in this season, and then the transfer portal comes around and you're missing things you're missing guys you need, you're just SOL. Like, that's all there is to it. You don't have any money left. So unlike in the NFL where you can cut guys, you can't cut guys here. It doesn't work that way, right? So you either have to convince them to leave and then hope that you can get out of whatever deal you had with them. But it's a way messier situation because you don't have a collective bargaining agreement controlling all that. So I said this before, you can't evaluate what a staff's plan was until the whole year is done, because you didn't see the whole plan in action until the year's over.
Yeah.
So you can see pieces of it, but we're not flies on the wall. I don't know what the overarching plan is, so I can't evaluate how it's been going. I can only say, given what they walked into, they're ahead of the curve. I don't know what else to tell you.
We have a small plan of what we know is flowing right. That's what we know.
We can kind of see a trend in the type of player, right, and a mentality that those guys have. So you can see some of the plan, but I can't tell you what their I don't know what the NIL plan for the transfer portal is going to look like. And I don't know how that's impacting where they're spending money now. You could say, well, Penn State will never spend that money. They might be willing to spend that money, but the plan may not be, hey, blow it all on recruits who hopefully will be here 2 years from now when they develop, because that's something a lot of schools have to think about. Is like a lot of schools are getting kind of scammed right now, where a player comes there, develops for 2 years, and then doesn't play and goes to play for somebody else. So they did all that work developing the guy, and then they don't even get the benefit of it, right?
Yeah.
So schools have to really think about like how you spend that money. You need to divide that up and try to get some trained talent that's ready already in those portals. So I don't know what Matt Campbell's plan is now that he's in a bigger NIL situation than he was in before, and he has more options than he had before. So it's going to be interesting to see. But it seems like some of these schools, you look at like Texas Tech and Indiana, they never make waves this time of year because they don't spend their money this time of year. They spend it in the portal, right? So the question for like recruiting and them, those guys live and die by the portal. That's a mixed bag, right? Technically the guys who started it wasn't Indiana and it wasn't Texas Tech. It was Florida State that started that. And that has been a very mixed bag for them. Right. So it's one of those things where I don't know, I don't know what the plan is. It kind of seems like maybe they're trying to split the money, right? Which would make sense. It's probably the way I would approach it, just because of how tenuous it's been, right? With whether that's successful or not. So I think a lot of schools, it's not just Penn State, it's everybody. Everybody is going through this thing where they don't really know how they should handle it yet. And the schools who kind of made a decision, you can see who they are. Florida State, they're going to live and die by the portal, decided it, right? They just don't care. They don't seem to care about high school recruiting at this point. Texas Tech doesn't seem to care much about high school recruiting. Indiana, they still do. They do more than Texas Tech and Florida State do. But even them, like they kind of live and die by the portal, right? So Penn State, I don't know what the plan is yet. We'll probably have a good idea of it once the year's done. So come back to that in February, and I'll have a really good idea of what the plan was, and then we can kind of talk about how'd it go, right? Like from an outsider perspective, but how did it go? So
from what it's looking like, and from what it makes sense is until they get a couple high school recruiting classes under their belt to stock the team up with, let's say freshmen coming in, and then those are sophomores, and you got freshmen coming in behind them, right? Like you need kids of all ages coming in. I think until they stock up on the high school recruiting, they probably are going to pitch more towards the portal as a short-term plan until they're able to accumulate more high school recruits. They just got there, right? Just like producer Jesse said, you moved into the house. There's a lot of things that need fixed, right? It's not ready to go. He had a really good analogy for it. I'm not going to try to go through it, but there were things that needed fixed. Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense right now for him because Penn State fans want to win. Matt Campbell wants to win. The whole coaching staff wants to win. So paying kids that are more known commodities right now that are going to be plug and play almost, and guy you're paying off potential, that's a bigger risk. Could be a bigger reward, but it could be the same reward if you're paying a guy who's a known commodity, who actually has development already done at a previous school that does a good job. Could be a smaller school. Sometimes that works out. It works for Indiana, obviously. And I know we're going to continue to bring that up. But Indiana's not the only school that it's worked for. There's other schools that have gotten G5 players that end up being really good. So, I mean, Chase Owell was at Eastern Michigan. What was it? ECU, yeah.
ECU.
He was at ECU and came to Iowa State and did really good. So you never know.
Yeah, and it's very dynamic. So I guess that leads into some of the guys that have been coming and going. Elijah Garrett coming in, and then Khalil Taylor visiting Nebraska this weekend. We'll know more about that later.
Laughable video. Oh my gosh.
Man, that was
like 10,
I wish
there were like 10 people there. There were like
don't get me wrong. I get Brett,
sure.
I get the idea of like, hey, walk out of the tunnel, get a feel for like the stadium and whatever. But that was cringe, dude. That
was bad.
I watched that and I just started trying. I was like, come on, dude. Who thought this was a good idea?
And it's not Taylor's fault. It's Nebraska's fault for making it that pathetic, you know?
Yeah.
He was trying. It was
who in the marketing team thought that was a good idea, man? Come on.
Like Tennessee was doing that first, but Tennessee actually had like 100-some people there, probably. Like
they at least had some group of people, but like, it's just even like the whole idea of that just doesn't make any sense. Just let them walk out onto the field from the tunnel, check out the field from the ground level. You're not filling the stadium for it, you know. It's silly. Yeah, it's just I don't get that. That's semantics to me. But
even a clip with no fans, like this would have been sick. Tony Rojas just posted on a story him and the players walking out of the tunnel with the slow motion with like a nice relaxed song. Like that would have been better.
Yeah, that would
than what they did. So
it's weird. It was just again, it felt like a pathetic attempt at like simulating. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it was something.
Stadium Pulse 0. Stadium Pulse 0. They should have put that on there.
Yeah,
it was really stupid. Like
really bad.
Yeah,
I messaged you guys. I'm like, this is lame.
It's horrible.
I felt bad about that one. Like, no offense, man. I know you guys are trying, but like, come on. Dude.
Yeah,
like,
that's bad.
And I was gonna say, let your stadium speak for itself, man. Like. Yep. The Huskers have a nice stadium. Like it's one of the nicer venues in the Big Ten. It's a really cool place. So like, this kind of semantics just seems so childish to me. I don't know.
Yeah, like he like goes to the end and then he just stops and turns around. Everyone's like, all right.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I don't understand it. Yeah.
It wasn't authentic. It was so forced.
Yeah, that's what I would say. That's why it's forced. It's so forced.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
that's how I felt.
And then he went and put a Penn State sweatshirt on.
But you know, so we'll know more. Probably next week about that.
Fixing this.
Yeah. And then the 23rd, Deshaun Hall's the 23rd, right? Auburn, probably.
He's most likely going to Auburn. Now, that makes sense to me because I always thought it was a little bit. He was going to be tough coming out of Alabama. That's a tough one, and I can't blame a young guy for wanting to stay home, right?
Nope.
And so
it looks like he just bought a car, so
yeah. So he's probably going to Auburn, But what did it say that Auburn? That Auburn cell phone plan? I guess it's paying off.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those things. Like I can't fault a young man for wanting to stay home. So
no.
I thought the only thing that was odd to me was Alabama didn't offer him officially, which I thought was interesting. That may change. Obviously, we still got a long way to go. So Alabama may come and try to come crashing in later. But
but it could change with Hall too. You just never know. Probably not, but it could.
Yeah,
he loves Penn State. His brother's coming.
Yeah, it is. That was probably the only strange thing was like we kind of thought, oh, his brother. That seems like a pretty good. But if you're getting paid more to stay home, I can't fault you. Do as you do. But we'll see. Obviously, like we said, we've still got 6 months in this process going, so a lot will change between now and then.
Yeah, the whole thing, like we watched Landon's stuff, and producer Jesse said, you move into a new house, it's not going to be perfect. I got to fix some things up, change some things, make it better. And the house that Campbell moved into was basically burned to the ground. So basically, Terry Smith's standing there with a burnt piece of wood, like, all right, let's build it back up, coach. Like, with the Pinstripe Bowl trophy next to him. So, yeah, one thing that, and Landon does great work. He did a great video with Chris Buchanani too.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I took away from his video with Chris Buchanani was like they're trying to figure out like what's going on. What are they doing? What are they? Maybe they go to the portal, or maybe why they're not doing this, or why are they not doing this, or they're doing this. And to me, like when we say they just got here, like what I mean is they got here in December after a train wreck last year, and they're trying to reestablish what was supposed to be reestablished. That's what it was called, reestablished. Well, trying to literally reestablish Penn State, not the fake reestablish like down south. They're trying to reestablish Penn State for what it was. It was not what it was for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to basically make the brand what it was again, because it was not what it was. It was not Penn State under the previous guy at all, for many reasons. But trying to reestablish that, and for me, when they're trying to figure out, like, maybe they go in the portal, maybe they do this, maybe they do that, I'm not even thinking that, because let's say they don't do that, then you're just going to be disappointed. I don't know what they're doing. I know they have a good class coming in, but truly, what are they doing? Like, what is their plan for the portal, for recruiting? I don't know. I think they will go after, more elite talent in recruiting next year. I think they're probably going after some good proven guys in the portal next year. Chris Buchanani used what was the guy's name? Fleming. He used Fleming as an example. That he went to Ohio State, wanted a lot of money, and we didn't get him. And then he turns out he wasn't that good, And like Aaron just said about paying a guy and bringing him in, and then next year he transfers out or he doesn't play or whatever, is it worth it? Is it worth Tennessee paying a freshman running back $6 million to come there? Is it worth paying Peter Bork to come down there just to look good and then transfer out after making $3 million, supposedly?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? And there's definitely regulations coming in for NIL for sure. For all of it, there's going to be regulations coming down the line. So, the president's involved in it now. So, I think
first string has to get paid the same number, like per position, and then second string, same number, third string. Like, that's how it needs to be set up. Like, there's no other way. There's not.
Yeah, so I think Penn State, I don't know what their plan is, but I don't really care enough to speculate right now, because I am happy with what they're doing now. If they suck and they don't win, then yeah, adjustments need to be made. And the fact that we have a real staff, I know they will. But just overall, I think they're in a spot where, like, I think people forget, like, where we were last year. I really do. I think people forget where we were last year and where we've been for the past 12 years. And our previous coach loved July headlines, June headlines, May headlines. He loved that. Like, we signed this guy, we signed that guy. Peter Bork is literally an example of that. There's no reason for him to be there. Chris Buchanani said it. He said that quarterback room was a mess. 3 of those guys probably never going to play, and they're paying them a lot of money, from what I understand. So, we're not getting these big headlines in the offseason, and people are mad. Some people want the staff fired, which is ridiculous. And you got to know the history too. You got to know the history of Penn State. We were never a big recruiting school. We always built through the high schools. And we say about Indiana, and it's a fact. Like, Indiana proved, Kurt Cignetti proved, that you don't need a lot of talent and a lot of money to win a national championship. Now, I think it's like 60-40. Like, 60% it was an anomaly, 40% it wasn't. And that it can be repeated. We'll see. Yeah. But that's just a point that it was proven that to win a national championship, you don't need to do that. I mean, I can't think of any other team in the past that didn't have a ton of talent and they won the national championship. I mean,
Penn State.
Well, yeah, Penn State in like 86, 82. But they had some, I mean, dude, Shane Conlon, DJ Dozier.
They were good, but they were coming from 3-star athletes, in terms of
Right.
Like we didn't have. I don't know that we had a single what you consider a blue chip in the modern day
Right.
on any of those teams.
So it came down to coaching.
Well, yeah,
And
that's what I was going to say. Like, how most of the saying goes, it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes. That was proven to be wrong. It was the X's and the O's. They played smarter, not harder. Like, it was so impeccably, no mistakes were made. There might have been one small mistake made in any of those semifinal games or any of those games Indiana played. They played very clean football. It's so hard to do that. Like, the coaching has to be out of this world for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Developing players. That's what it is. So when I say, like, they're not going to spend a lot of money and I don't know what they're going to do in the portal, I think it comes down to coaching, and Taylor Mauser said it. I sent the clip the day after we were on here, I think Wednesday. And I said, he literally just said what we said last night. He said, Matt Campbell's going after talented guys that fit the system. That's what he's going after. So, like, I think people forget where we were last year, where we were for 12 years. We signed so many talented kids, and the most talented class he had here went 7-6 at their senior year. They all came back, which never happens, and then they went 7-6. And it came down to coaching. That's what it came down to. So ultimately, whether or not they go into the portal or they do this in recruiting, they do that, I personally don't care. It comes down to coaching. Once the coaching isn't there, that's when the issue is there. That's what the issue was before. It was the coaching. Can you imagine, hypothetically, if Matt Campbell, Terry Smith, Bill O'Brien were coaching last year, where we would have ended up? Probably would have been a lot better, at least in the second round of the playoffs, at least with a real head coach. So that's what it comes down to for me. That's just what I think is their mindset, and that's how Penn State's always been. Matt Campbell's fully embracing Penn State and the culture and the history. That's a fact. And that's what I think they're ultimately what they're focused on is getting guys that fit, and they're going to coach them and develop them. They're going to develop the water boy is going to be developed. The girl fixing the equipment, she's going to be better. I mean, like, everyone's going to get better. The walk-on, the kicker, everyone's going to get better. All right. So that's what I think. I don't think we're going to see Michael Parsons, Abdul Carter. We're going to see Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen type guys come in and they don't get better. Like Michael Parsons, that guy could have gone to the NFL probably straight out of high school. That's how good he was. Abdul Carter, I think they could have gotten way more out of him. As good as he was, could have gotten way more out of him. Michael Parsons, Justin Shorter, Ricky Slade, Brandon Smith, Tariq Castro Fields, Katron. They simplified the offense last year. Look what Katron did. Yeah. They could have gotten more out of Katron. They could have gotten more out of Singleton, and they still broke rushing records.
Yeah, they were still.
And they didn't even get the most out of them. So.
Katron's one of my favorite players of all time. Like, dude, he's up there.
Big man.
Yeah, so
he's that good.
We're not going to see that anymore with this staff. We're not going to see it. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is, like, when we're playing Marshall, there was times with Joe where we had games and they were just so boring. Like, we're up 21-9 to Temple in the fourth quarter, and it's like a nail biter. I don't want that to happen. I hope they go out and put up points. I hope they go out and run up the scores reasonably when they can. Like Coastal Carolina in 2008, I think it was 69-10 was the final score. Like, I hope they run up the score when they can. And, like, when they're playing a USC, they're definitely not going to play it like our previous coach would have.
Yeah.
Where it's just
we'll have to look at – I haven't really looked back to see what Matt Campbell does with lesser opponents. I'll have to do some research to see what they do.
Well, they just need to play 60 minutes of football.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if he run up the score is what I meant. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Week 0 last year, never thought I was watching our future head coach and our future roster when they beat Kansas State. I never thought that once. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be the head coach of Penn State next year. Like, but yeah, I would have to go back, like you said, Brett, and watch it. But at the same time, he's at Penn State now, so, like, there's a lot more at his fingertips where they essentially combine two teams. They have two head coaches, and I think they have everything that they need to go out there and put on a good show. I don't think Matt Campbell's coming in being like, yeah, we're going to beat Marshall, 28-7. I think they're going to try to beat the living piss out of them and put up points. That's what I think is going to happen. Temple, Buffalo, that's what they're going to try to do, because he knows that's what we want as fans. But then again, we've also said that they don't care what we think. But I know that he wants to put a good product in the field, and that does mean putting up some style points against lower opponents. I hope they do that. I hope it's not the boring and conservative type of ball that sometimes we saw under Joe. That was annoying at times.
Yeah, down the middle.
Yeah,
Down the middle.
Aaron,
I would agree. You're right, George. The 86 team was actually pretty good dudes. I was thinking more the 82 team, but
82 they really didn't have
individual talent.
But they had Kurt Warner back then, the quarterback for the Rams.
Yes, yeah. But no, to answer, just if you know your history, time is always a flat circle. I say, even Indiana, what they did, contrary to popular belief, was not unprecedented. Miami did it in the 70s. And before Miami, it was Penn State. And before Penn State, I think it was USC back in the 30s. Like, it's like this idea of like, you can't do this until somebody does it, right? And it's just the way that you do it might change over time, but it's never this big shock, right? It's just whoever figures out a way to do it first. And that's why, like, when people are like, oh no, in this new era, there's no world where like a small market team is going to be able to win the national title. Like, you only say that until it happens. Like, it's again, if you knew how nobody Miami was before Howard Schellenberger walked in there, like Miami was worse than Indiana.
They were paying people to come to games.
They were bad, like before Howard Schellenberger walked in there. And he just had a different idea about how you should recruit. And he said, there's a lot of talent in Florida that nobody bothers to scout. If we keep them home, maybe it changes our future. That was his magic. That was all it took. Complete change. So it seems like it's less likely for that to happen today, but that doesn't mean it can't still happen. It's just going to happen in a different way, right? So like, you're probably not going to see tons of really good talent that just gets completely glossed over, except the Northeast. If a state like Massachusetts or a state like New York suddenly starts producing a lot of really good high school talent, you think that might be a blind spot for rivals in them who don't think that good talent comes out of there, right? It's only a blind spot because you figured it out too late, right? So like, that's all it takes. It's
crazy how big of a difference there is though with New Jersey and New York. It's actually insane. Like the difference in like widespread. Yeah,
it's just down to the commitment of like high school football. Like, do they have an organized system for developing talent, and do they bring in a lot of because we like high school football, if you look at like a Spring Grove, they're not hiring specialized coaches in a Spring Grove, Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. Because the assumption is there's no point. But as soon as you actually, the thing about high school football is the difference between developing really capable young men and not developing really capable young men is actually just your attention to detail and effort, right? So like, if you get a serious coach in there who knows what he's doing, that school can suddenly become relevant in its development of players. And before you know it, in order to keep up with that school, all of its neighboring schools have to do the same thing. And before you know it, you end up with this collection of really good universities that are just starting to pump out really great players who are really well trained, right? So that's how all these other places got that way. That's why the Southeast is so full of talent, because the Southeast cared more about high school. Like up north, we have a tendency to favor the NFL, right? Down south, they had a tendency to favor college football, which meant they also favored high school football, which meant it was more important in places like the state of Texas, and those places put out the most talent, right? That can change. Like, it's just a demographics thing. So as we speak, there's a huge demographics leaving California, heading random directions all over the country because the cost of living in California is so high. We don't know what that demographic's going to do to the look of things like college football over the next 10 years. It could significantly change the landscape. So just because something is doesn't mean it'll never be, right? Like it could turn into anything. So I never say never on stuff like that because I've seen it, right? Like the nobody school can absolutely become the somebody. And now we all look at Miami and just think they're a blue blood, right? But if you went back to the 70s, people would have laughed at you for saying that. Are you crazy?
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially with the changing landscape like it is now, there's a lot of opportunities to get a competitive edge that probably haven't been exploited yet. So,
well, also, like you said, Brett, on the 2028 stuff, and this is just because Brett brought it up, and they did go after guys this year. Brett just sent this. They did go after elite talent, like elite talent. They did do that this year. Keemon Spell, he was committed to us. They tried for him. Don't blame him for leaving. He likes to speed, and that's fine. But we still got the number 6 running back in Aiden Gibson. And Odo's going to be up there too. So, and we're ahead of LSU, Wisconsin, Clemson, Oregon, Notre Dame, whatever that cat is. Florida.
Texas State. Yeah.
Florida
That's
State.
Crazy. Texas State.
But we're ahead of all those guys, and that's all money right there probably. But the point is, they probably will go after guys in the future, but it comes down to coaching, and I don't just mean Matt Campbell, like Aaron just said. Recruiting all over the country. Matt Campbell was also very strategic in who he hired. We have ties all over the country now. People say, like producer Jesse, very knowledgeable, but there's a couple things I disagreed on. He said James Franklin was a great football coach. Yeah, against Buffalo and Temple, sure, but not against. He kind of was. He was not a great recruiter. He was not a great recruiter. He really wasn't. I mean, the brand of Penn.
He was impeccable against Maryland. We could say that. That's impressive, but
he was not a great recruiter. He was pretty good. I wouldn't say he was great or elite. That word got thrown around a lot, and he did it himself mainly. But
good recruiter, I would say.
He was a good recruiter, especially in the DMV area. Okay, Joe Paterno, you rarely saw him get a guy out of California, or he was mainly New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Ohio. That's where he was. John Carter's from, I think, Columbus. Drew Aller is from Ohio. Like the DMV area is where he was good. Now we're good everywhere. We got relationships and ties everywhere. So I'd kind of disagree with him on that. But we also have guys now that can recruit all over the country. So it comes down to our coaching. That's what it comes down to. I think people need to really I think a lot of people just aren't accepting the fact that, listen, this is what we're doing now, and we're going to see if it works, but this is the right way to do it. Their focus is on coaching. Their focus is not on going out and fighting tooth and nail for elite talent, and maybe they go in the portal. I don't know, probably, but their focus is the coaching. We're not going to go out there and get all these sexy, signees and, get all this flash and headlines and all this stuff. Every time Penn State now gets a recruit, the same feeling I had before, I don't have now, where when Aiden Gibson signs, when Landon Bloom signs, when Stanley Montgomery signs, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Because I know what it means. So I think people just aren't accepting the fact that we're not going to be an off-season headliner like the previous coach tried to be. He always was. And then we're going to the whiteout. Everyone needs to be there. 107,000 people, this and that. We beat them or we lose if they're good, like Oregon. And then the rest of the season, it's like, all right, well, never mind. That's all it meant. We just hyped up the whiteout like it was the Super Bowl. And now it's gone in week 4. And now we're on to the rest, losing to Ohio State, losing to Michigan. Same song and dance every freaking year.
Well, that's the difference. James Franklin was tweeting every week, let's do this. like Matt Campbell speaks for himself. Like people are just going to show up now because he's Matt Campbell. They're just going to show up.
That's a fact that Matt Campbell is a total opposite of our previous coach. And in addition, we know what Penn State is. These recruits, they don't know what Penn State is. Even if you're from freaking Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter. That's why I wanted to make the playoff for years and years, and we never did because it helps recruiting. Okay? You have to prove your product. We have not done that yet. Matt Campbell has not done that yet. And maybe he never will. We don't know. But we don't have a proof of product right now. Besides our logo, we don't have a proof of product yet. So that's another factor why we're not getting guys is because we need a proof of product. Kurt Signetti is now proven. He's going to get guys now. Alabama is proven. Ohio State is more than proven. Oregon, somewhat proven. They're a bunch of weirdos, but Notre Dame, hey, I mean, look, they beat some good teams. They've beaten some good teams. You know what I mean? I mean, like Georgia, proven product. We are not a proven product. We're starting over from zero. So that's another factor in it all.
And I would also say I don't think we're having trouble getting good dudes. If you're in the top 20 in recruiting at this point, you're doing fine.
Exactly.
But I think George made a great point there. You know, do you count it as good coaching if the players don't develop? That's a great point. I think I'm taking this quote from Kirby Smart, but he said, the term coaching comes from stagecoach, which means I'm supposed to take you somewhere, right? So if I'm not taking you somewhere, am I actually a good coach? It's a good point.
Stagecoach, exactly.
I would say maybe the appropriate thing to say is Franklin was a good organizer or a good administrator, but doesn't work particularly well with others. Is probably the appropriate way to put that. So
yeah, dude. And like I said, who I spoke to last night, and I told these two, it was a very bad situation before, like very bad. I mean, just everything that we've thought, the arrogance, the selfishness, it was bad, guys. And we still won a lot of games. So, it is what it is. Again, thanks, George, for the donation, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, George.
Please like the video if you're listening to it, guys. Subscribe, share it, help us get to 2,000 followers. Please. We're growing. We are growing. So
Kawa,
I think we can all. What did he say?
Kawa made a great point about Landon Bloom. Do not forget that we already have Landon Bloom.
Yep, and he's not budging.
Yep. It's a bad habit in recruiting for you to look for the next guy.
Yeah.
So don't interpret that as we don't care that we have Landon Bloom. That's not at all what we mean.
We appreciate him. Yeah.
Yeah, and producer Jesse said it's a instant gratification world that we live in.
Yeah.
Again.
No, it definitely is.
People I just don't think people are accepting the fact that dude, this is real. We're going to be playing and doing real football. This NIL is not real football. It's the Wild West.
Yep.
Penn State's not doing that. They're always going to recruit from high school. And you know what? Next year, when they have a proven product, they're probably going to have their pick in the portal. And they are proven players in the portal. Mitchell Tinsley came in. He's one of the few guys that we got out of the portal that actually had success. You're going to go get a guy like that. You're going to go get, our O-line did not perform as well as they could have last year, but like a Nolan Rushi, he was proven. He was a 5-star from Wisconsin. Guys like that. You're going to go get guys that are proven, that have experience, that played college football. Yep. Division I, I can tell you firsthand, Division I is eye-opening when you are like, first of all, when you just go to a game, everyone's bigger, they're faster. Yep. It's unbelievable. Like when I tried out at Penn State, dude, I got there and I'm like, wow, this is a whole different game here. This is not in Kansas anymore. This is a whole Division I is so good. I have so much respect for any Division I athlete, male or female. I have so much respect for Division I athletes. They are very good, especially in football, especially at a blue blood like Penn State. So if you have experience in football Division I don't care if it was Western Kentucky with Mitchell Tinsley, that can translate. It translates a heck of a lot more than high school. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, but just
I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree that the funnest part about Matt Campbell being here is it won't be gut-wrenching to watch the offensive side of the ball. It shouldn't ever be gut-wrenching to watch it now, right? I think that's the most important part moving forward. Defense, we'll see what it looks like with Dan Lynn. I trust the staff. They got multiple coordinators as position coaches, right? So that should work out very, very nicely as long as the chemistry is down. But, yeah, the offensive side of the ball, like this is the most important part that Penn State has lacked as a whole. We've had good players. We've had really good players on offense, but we have not had a cohesive unit on offense in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'll just be happy to know. I'll just be happy to not know if they're going to lose before they lose.
Exactly.
We can't forget.
Yes.
Every game we went into with Franklin, we knew we could lose. Every game
you watch the first drive, you're like, oh.
It was so predictable, and that's why I used to make people angry because I'd be like, "Oh, we're playing Ohio State. All right, I'll see you guys next week."
Every game we went into with Joe, every game we went into with Joe, we knew we could win. Every game we went into with Franklin, we knew we could lose. So, and Danton Lynn, took a pay cut to come here. What's that say about Matt Campbell? Okay, he didn't come here when Franklin was here. He didn't come here. He could have. He didn't. No.
Do we know what he got paid though? Well,
why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Take a job at Penn State when that's where you played? So what's that say about Matt Campbell that he took a pay cut to come here?
Did they announce that? Where did you see that though? Because I don't think it's public. Like, I don't think we know what he got paid. What he's getting
Penn
paid.
State does not have to disclose it officially because of some weird stuff.
Right. Who do you think told me that?
Yeah, so I don't think his full compensation is fully disclosed, but he was getting $2 million, I want to say, a year at USC.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he probably took a little pay cut then.
Yeah.
Brett, I was told that,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, just across the board, it's just a better situation. But go ahead, guys. I didn't mean to cut you off. You guys were.
No, you're good. Yeah, George. I'm skittish to look at a single situation, and when it comes in football, like that catch that Indiana made on the last drive. Like, I think the only part of that last drive that I would criticize the defense on badly was the sack and the slow behavior after the sack. So
celebrating,
that not getting back into position, not getting ready quickly, and having a plan for how to deal with the next play. That was my criticism of that. But
being undisciplined.
The defense as a whole, most of the year was not directly to blame. However, they did play, like, their inability to adjust as games went on. I had a lot of criticism of that. So, like, they couldn't figure out how to deal with a running quarterback. They struggled horrendously with that. And they weren't making adjustments to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Now, that might have probably falls on Knowles. But,
Matt Campbell's team's not going to be undisciplined like it was last year. It's not going to be
celebrating,
like that,
dude. Like the celebrating is just, I can't stand it,
Yeah, well, I'm fine with celebrating. Just do it when it makes sense. Like
a touchdown.
Don't do it when the game's not over and you just sacked the quarterback, but they're going to hurry up. Like, use your head. Right. I'm
okay if it's a touchdown and like you're in the game because like the play's over, like there's no next play for you to go slow on, right? It's a touchdown. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. If it's a fourth down and you get the sack on fourth down, then go
That's
ahead.
Big.
I mean the Nevada. Love Tony Rojas, and it came down to coaching, but he like makes this play. He runs like 10 yards away and like does a celebration. Like clearly the kid wants the eyes on him, and that's why he's doing that. And it's like, we're like, listen, you're playing Nevada, and honestly, we're not playing as good as we should, and you're running around celebrating. It's like, But yeah, like you said, you score, fine. Or like a third down sack. I love it when you get a good third down sack and then they start celebrating because, hey, we're punting now. So, I love that because that's a good time to celebrate. That's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's just, you got to remember too, like
reception.
They play with a lot of energy. So they get very hyped up. And when you're doing that, like sometimes you don't think in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's intentional most of the time. I think it's just Rojas gets a sack and he's like, yeah, he's really pumped up, right?
Yep. And sometimes it works for you, but when it doesn't,
he doesn't remember, oh shit, that's second down. Like I need to get back into position, right? So like it happens, I wouldn't I'm not going to torch a guy for that necessarily, but like you got to teach the guys to think, to instinctively just do the right thing, right? And that's a process. Like it's you got to have that grind set, right? So and that's a coaching thing too, right?
Yeah, right. If they're celebrating after sacking Mendoza and then they do a hurry up and there's going to be some sort of punishment from a Matt Campbell type, because that's ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Yeah, really.
And also you got to have your organization has to be set up in a way that you can see a problem like that happening and react quickly. So like, again, I said this before is like, get a timeout. If you're the defensive coach and you see that you're not going to be set properly and you're about to blow a 15-yard advantage you just got, just time out. He's got to be able to do that to save the situation so that kind of thing doesn't happen. Right.
Then you can save the game and coach the player at the same time.
Absolutely. So, and that timeout would have been totally worth it. Like, I'd say, oh man, but that's a burn on a timeout. But look, man, most timeouts are misused in football anyway. Like, if you burn a timeout at an appropriate time like that, I guarantee you it's going to work in your favor long term.
A lot of the time they'll burn a timeout because they don't have the subs in or they're not set right, and it's a mistake.
Exactly. We didn't organize it right on the sideline. That's an appropriate time to burn a timeout, not when we aren't managing ourselves properly as a staff. That's a mistake. That we need to fix, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see, and again, it'll be interesting to see, watching Matt Campbell at Iowa State and back when he was at Toledo, his staff is pretty well organized. They tend to execute their game plan really well. They seem to make small adjustments effectively as the game goes on. I was always pleased with when they were fighting uphill against a talent stack that had an advantage on them. They were really good at making like small changes that would subtly alter the outcome of the game. So like they would change like the avenues of pressure that they were putting on the quarterback. I noticed like there were times that they seemed to adjust. If a quarterback just has a tendency to go left, right, they would kind of adjust so that they were blitzing more from his left because he'd have a habit of just running into them then, right? He'd run right into your blitzers. So there's certain tricks like that subtle changes as the game goes on, something that you didn't see from our previous staff. And that was frustrating because there were times where a team could just beat the same thing to death against you and get away with it because you weren't making those small adjustments to take that away from them. So, but
what the heck? How did I get
some basketball recruiting? Hey,
look who's Iowa State's number one.
Iowa State's slaying it. They're good at basketball, man. They really are.
But
just spending that oil money, baby. Woo.
Yep, just pulling up the rankings. Okay, like what besides Florida, who has a new coach?
In Florida sells itself. That wasn't even from the coach.
Auburn does.
They have
Virginia Tech doesn't count. But like who of these top teams? Like you know what I mean? Like
UCLA.
None of these teams had a dumpster fire. Well, UCLA kind of did, but
UCLA
none of these teams dealt with dealt with what we dealt with, and we're in the top 20 in recruiting. Like, that's insane.
That,
you know?
And Chesney is a guy who was in our final for who we wanted, for who Penn State wanted too. So
Absolutely.
Chesney, we know, is a good coach. Same with Summerall down in Florida. So we knew that would happen for both teams.
Yeah, I think UCLA really nailed it with Bob Chesney.
With Chesney. Yep.
Yeah, and you can see it. Like he's making big moves quickly over there. So he's got a strong start. Now the tough part, if you're UCLA, is keeping that class.
Keeping them.
Right?
Yep.
That's the hard part because you're going to get every vulture on planet Earth coming after you, right? So, good. I hope that they keep succeeding because
it's better for the Big Ten.
It'd be good for the Big Ten if UCLA USC was a fun game again. Like
exactly.
It kind of needs to be, right?
Yep.
And it'd be good for the West Coast. Like the West Coast has been, in my opinion, outside of Oregon, the West Coast has been decaying away when it comes to college football ever since the Pac-12 screwed up their TV deals and stuff.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see the West Coast having some interest, build back up. And for that to happen, Cal's been playing better football too lately. They've been winning better than the ACC. So, that's good to see. And certainly we welcome the competition. So I think personally, it's like, again, it's going to be a little while for people mentally to adjust to the fact that recruiting does not work at all like it used to. And you got to get used to that idea of it's a year-long process. You're going to see a lot of vultures. If you have success recruiting, you're going to see more vultures, right? So, and the only way you're going to pin everybody down is if you're Texas A&M and you're going to blow $100 million, right? That's kind of how it is. And even A&M, they'll probably get vultured. Watch out for Alabama and Georgia to come after them. Tennessee will probably be in their hip pocket. They'll be fighting Texas all the way, of course. Mm-hmm. And don't be surprised if the Sooners come after them too. But some of this recruiting is going to get to where you're going to see, specifically because a school is another school's adversary, they're going to go after each other in particular, right, to try and soften each other up. So, it's a very different landscape than it was. And I think if this bill passes Congress, it's going to change that landscape again.
Is there a time frame on that, or we just don't know?
They're still having hearings about it. I don't think they have like a specific times or a specific date set yet for that one.
And that's the one that Trump put through, right? That's the one that Trump did the executive order, right? That's the one that he put through that we're waiting on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Which was, good on him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. The president's involved
Let's
now.
see what the time frame looks like on that right now.
I'll play this. I'll play this Jay Paterno clip real quick.
Yeah, probably the one I saw. It was good.
So just to give a quick update before you run that video, Mark. So right now, and I remembered, I think yesterday or the day before, but the Senate committee voted on the bill yesterday when it passed with a 19-9. So it is now over the first legislative hurdle.
Nice.
So I think sometime in July they have to do, I think there's a Senate floor committee has to go on there. And then I think the deadline, what is the deadline?
Who are the 9 idiots that voted against it?
August. Yeah, I know. August.
Holy cow.
August 10th, 2026 is the targeted deadline for final vote on the bill right now.
That's good.
So
move it along.
Yeah, and that's because of the presidential expedition of the bill. So they
9 idiots. That's crazy. 9.
Well, I think there's people who didn't like some of the. I know that there was a big argument about. There was concerns that there were personal interests in the bill, and there are people in the legislative track who do not like the private equity involvement behind the bill, and so there's some back and forth about that. But which, admittedly, like that is the case, but also you're never going to get a perfect bill. They don't exist.
No.
So
This is better than what we
you
have.
want
So do
something
it.
to get better in college football, you're going to have to go with something, and this is probably as good as it gets. So
yep.
Well, Trump was involved in it too, so some people probably
don't like
against
them,
it
then
just
they're
for
going to
that.
say exactly. Yep.
Do you think Penn State and the paternal family, do you think you guys, where are you right now when it comes to Penn State and the administration right now? Are you guys trying to get together? Because I pray to God one day we see that again, because every time I turn on Penn State, people are under the notion James Franklin made the thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the case here. This is Joe Pot, dude. Do you think you'll ever see that merging again, where that relationship is back in a great spot?
Well, I can tell you right now, Matt Campbell, who's our new coach, I have a great relationship with him already. And I've spent a lot of time with him. And he has really done an unbelievable job. You know, Miami, you know from Miami, they went through a period where the former players were kind of got the stiff arm. And we kind of went through that a little bit the last decade or so. But Matt Campbell has made it a point to bring former players back, to engage the current players with the former players. You know, you had guys coming in, he brought in a different decade every weekend. So a guy like Kerry Collins, who played in the 90s, is sitting down having dinner with the current quarterbacks, and they're learning about what this place is about and what they stand for. So it's been really, really good. Matt has done a great job. I think I think the people in his community, the people, Penn State fans, are really excited about what he can do and rallying to the cause. So I think we're in a really good place there.
Yep.
Imagine that.
Yep.
So, straight out of Jay Paterno's mouth, he's heavily involved in the program. So, and I know he did not like our previous coach either. So I know that for a fact.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, the other day I watched the video. LeVar was talking about how he was a big James Franklin fan, and his co-host, whatever his name is, was saying how it was weird that people were mad that Penn State was upset because Franklin didn't have history in the Lash building and they didn't honor Joe. It's like, first of all, you're a clown. And I don't know why LeVar, he does speak up for Franklin a lot. And like, I get it, but like, dude, at some point, LeVar, you're going to have to make a decision. Like, you going to stay loyal to him when he clearly wasn't good for us? You're at Penn State. You always will be. He's gone. So, it's like, okay, like, you are a Franklin fan. That's fine, I guess. But, like, no one else is. So,
yeah, I mean, look, he was reasonably well liked by players, even if he wasn't a particularly good coach. Which that happens. Like, he's hardly the first person to be favored by the players. I mean, you see it all the time in the NFL. There's lots of coaches in the NFL that players like, and they're not particularly effective as coaches. So, I understand. Like, again, I'm not going to tell somebody, look, if you like him, go ahead, but that's, have your opinion. But I personally did not like a lot of the things I saw. But also, your involvement, like your relationship to him, is very different than the everyday persons or the people in the room. Like, a player's relationship to Franklin is very different than somebody on, say, the board, right? Like, it's a very different relationship. So, I'm not going to tell you, if you like him, you like him. That's fine. But I will say, you cannot tell me that something doesn't seem wrong.
well,
that he shows up at Virginia Tech and the president and the AD are fired within a few months.
Yeah.
I'll say this, Aaron. If you're a diehard fan of Penn State, it's not okay if you still like Franklin, because you don't know the facts if you're still a fan of him.
It's the casual fans that like him. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, like,
That's
they know
fair,
nothing.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't know the facts. Like,
Yeah, the casual fans are folks who are outsiders to the universe that don't focus on Penn State football.
Aaron, I was talking to somebody on Facebook today, like a Penn State fan that was trash talking Campbell, and I was like,
what?
I'll have to find it. Well, like, not trash talking, but basically saying like he's not going to do what Franklin did. I'm like, I said your assumptions are just assumptions. That's all they are, and they're wrong. So
Right.
is basically what I said. I have to find it, but
I mean, like we can't predict the future, but holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
And I don't see LeVar doing
he
that.
said
Penn State.
he said the PSU Cyclones 3-star all the way, baby. I said plenty of 4-stars committed right now. Nice try though. He goes, Campbell will be fired in 3 years, maybe 2. I said, sure, buddy. Way better coach than little Frankie B boy. I said the B word. He said, time will tell, but I'm betting on Franklin to have more success than Campbell. Mid-major Matt will not win as many games as PSU as Franklin did. I'm not saying Franklin is perfect, but he will far surpass Campbell. I said your assumptions are just assumptions. Campbell did more with less, and Franklin did less with more.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But also casually forgetting that Franklin came from Vanderbilt, which was not even a mid-major. So
Aaron, he's in a conference now where he's got more coaches. He's cooked. Like he's in a conference now where he's got more coaches. He just played against Ohio State and Michigan every year, lost to them both almost every single year. Yep. Okay, now he's in the ACC.
Can't wait to play. Can't wait to play Michigan this year.
Yeah. Dude, he is not a big time program coach. He's not. Okay. Yeah. So when you like the excuse at Vanderbilt was, oh, you have to have a 4.0 to get in here, so I couldn't get all these great guys. It's like, shut up. But he's not a big time program coach. So when you go to the ACC where you have Braum, you have Cristobal, you have Dabo, you have the dude from Pitt, can't remember his name. Like they're all better, if not
Lashley.
Close. Lashley. You have all these coaches that are better, if not even with him.
Yeah. Even
if they're slightly below, it doesn't mean he's going to beat them. Like he's not going to beat Georgia Tech. He's not going to beat Miami. He's not going to beat Clemson. He might beat Pitt. He might beat Maryland. Maybe we'll see.
Okay. Well, and I've said it plenty of times. He relies entirely on his recruiting because he has to have a significant athletic advantage. Because he doesn't outcoach people. He gets out.
And he screws it up.
So he doesn't he's not going to outcoach people. But if he can get enough athletic advantage, then he can win. It was always the case at Penn State. It was our talent fee bailed us out, or it wasn't enough and we lose. But even if we had a talent advantage, there was always a chance we'd still find a way to lose. Again, because you get outcoached bad enough, sometimes it doesn't matter if you have the talent fee. So that was his problem, and if you say, well, he was one of the best recruiters, okay, but that didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, yeah, okay, it's cool. It's sort of a new approach at Penn State. We didn't do that to win typically in the past, but like I said, I was open to it if it worked, but I quickly saw that. As a coach, he just isn't very good on the field. Like he's not a good X's and O's guy. He's not going to outcoach the guys that you play against. So either he has to have a crazy athletic advantage, or he's going to lose.
Yeah,
right?
It's a fact.
And, it's weird, and I like a lot of people will point out, and I've said this before. It was weird that it worked out that way because he was at Vanderbilt before and found some success there. So you would think he knew how to win at a disadvantage. So, and this is why I kind of said his staff, and this is why I said this staff is so important, is because I think the reason he was successful at Vanderbilt had more to do with his staff. Because I think his staff was very talented, and they kind of made up for a lot of his shortcomings. And you could see it with offense. Joe Moorhead was the Penn State offense. It became very obvious over time once Joe Moorhead was gone. Joe Moorhead was Penn State's offense. And if he's not around, that offense never really worked again, right? Like it was always a struggle after that. Defensively, Manny Diaz, like you needed somebody like that if you wanted a top 10 Penn State defense. So I still think that rings true. that Franklin does a lot of things locker room correct. If you're talking about recruiting and you're talking about being a players kind of guy, I think he does do that stuff pretty well. Whether it's genuine or not, it works. But he falls short in so many other areas. So to me, and now we're entering a period of football, and I said this is kind of the problem Dabo has. Like, we're entering an era of football where that way of coaching and building a program doesn't really work anymore. You can't just win that way anymore. And so even really good coaches, guys that I think are actually pretty good everywhere, have struggled with this. Like Kirby's had trouble with it at Georgia, right? He's not able to assemble the A-list football team that he was able to assemble before. Now, he's still good. They still win the SEC every year, right? But you can tell that he doesn't have the teams he had in 21 and 22. He's not getting that level of caliber that deep through his organization anymore. And that's the world we live in. So now I think your coaching on the field, your X's and O's, is going to matter more than it used to. It's going to be more like the NFL, where if you don't bring that, you better bring a lot of other stuff, and it better be really high level. Because otherwise you're going to get absolutely torched. So that's what I think about it. But you know, and like I said, if he can get enough talent advantage at Virginia Tech, it may work out that he wins a lot of games there. But in terms of like who's the best coaches in that league, I wouldn't have him in the top 8.
No, not at all. I'm gonna head off, guys. If you guys are still going, good pod.
All right, man.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah,
you too, guys.
See ya. Yeah, Aaron, he's not going to be, just in terms of who he's facing, and he's not in the position he was before. That's for sure. But you know, at the end of the day, exactly.
That's just.
But
yeah,
we're just in a totally different position, and I just believe in the staff, man. That's what it comes down to, you know. Really, that's what it comes down to. Is like we're just in a way better spot. We got to see how it plays out, but I think they're going to prove their worth. They're going to prove to more elite talent that they should come here, even if it's less money. If you want to win a national title, maybe go to the NFL, be developed, get a good degree, then come to Penn State. You know, that's what it comes down to. So,
yeah, and I think again, if this bill does pass, which it seems to be on a good track to, it is going to change once again how the portal works in a meaningful way, because you know players only get one transfer without penalty, and that's going to significantly alter the way that players choose to transfer. They're going to have to be more selective about transferring. So, you know, if you're currently at LaSalle, or you're at JMU or something, and you're going to transfer, you have to really think about like, okay, I only get one of these unpenalized, so wherever I go next is probably where I'm going to land and stay. So I'm going to have to think this through more. I'm going to have to be a little more careful about it.
Exactly. Yep.
And I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. We can't, like, again, we don't have a collective bargaining agreement, and that's why this is such a mess, because when normal free agency, like, it's a highest bidder situation. So you just dictate it by the highest bidder, but they can do that in the NFL effectively because they have a hard cap that they're working against. So you can set a market on a guy, and nobody can come in there and just bid anything because they have a billionaire behind them. It doesn't work that way in the NFL, right? So in order for this to work, you either have to put some limitation on what a player can do, or you have to put limitations on what everybody else can do. And in the NFL, they put limitations on what everybody else can do. But in college football, that's really difficult. So I think that's why they're kind of going back to, well, put a limitation on what a player can do, because it's probably just more feasible for them. But we'll see what happens. Again, like, I haven't seen anything that makes me feel remotely bad about where Penn State's at right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know, if there's drama out there, I don't understand why.
Yeah.
So, and I've said many a time is like, there's a certain level of skill you need, but like once you reach that skill level, the only thing that's going to push you any higher is good coaching and good leadership.
Yeah.
And you can't fake that. There's no escaping that, right? Like,
Nope.
And so if you're not a good coach, you're never going to get over that hump. Plain and simple. You're going to end up in the billow. You're going to end up in the same position that, who am I thinking of now? I'm getting tired. The old Georgia coach used to, that he could just never get past them.
Richt. Mark Richt. Yeah.
Mark Richt. Thank you. And you're going to end up just like him and the guy from Notre Dame. And it's just going to be, you're banging your head against the wall because the issue, whether you like it or not, is you. Right?
Yeah.
So you either have to change and grow as a coach and figure it out, or you can stubbornly beat your head against the wall until people get irritated and they fire you, which, it will eventually happen. There's a limit to how much people will put up with. And I say this for like Virginia Tech fans, like they're like, well, if we win games, we'll be happy. No, you'll be happy for a while. But the truth of every fan base is the same, which is it's not good enough to be good. Sooner or later, you will get impatient. Sooner or later, you will want more. It's just the nature of people, right? Like we look at competition and we say, oh, I finished third. Great for me, because I used to finish 24th. Great.
Yeah.
That is great. But if you finish third 8 times in a row, you're going to start getting irritated, right? You're going to be like, no, I'm not finishing third again, damn it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how it goes. And that's the thing. Penn State went through that. Georgia went through it with Richt. Notre Dame went through it with, I keep wanting to say Bill. It's not Bill O'Brien. I keep wanting to say, Notre Dame went through it with what's his name?
Kelly. Yeah.
Kelly. Thank you, Brian Kelly. And Penn State went through it with James Franklin. And I think, most schools, they don't even get that far because they typically fire the coach long before that. Right. So, it's one of those things. I think, even though he's Lane Kiffin is pretty much a daytime TV drama walking around. I think if he stays at Mississippi long enough, I think the same thing would have happened there. If they kept coming up short, I think they would have eventually been like, come on, we should be getting over this hump, right? Like everybody wants to win the prize. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win the prize. That's why the prize exists.
Yeah. Right? Like, let's say they win a playoff game or two, they're going to want more, and it's never going to happen. So
sooner or later, they're going to ask
find out that it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
But with Penn State, we actually have an opportunity to be better, to make it over the hump, to utilize the smart staff that we have, the real staff that we have, and actually maybe win a national title in a conference, in a Big Ten.
It's possible. But also,
there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would even say there's very few programs that actually have a ceiling. That if you just stop believing in that there's a ceiling, right? Indiana, most people would have believed they had a ceiling. I would have told you that 5 years ago. They didn't have a ceiling, did they? As it turns out.
Yeah,
so,
no.
And that's why I say, if in any competition, I don't understand this idea of people are supposed to settle. That's not the nature of a competition. The nature of competition is you're always trying to be the best. You want to be the best. That's your goal, right?
Juck on Bucks, you have a pretty big channel, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, if you were listening, which I guess you weren't, it doesn't really matter what he's doing, man. It's pretty irrelevant.
Well,
you're an Ohio State fan. You care what recruits we get? No. It doesn't matter.
Only for
because,
competition purposes.
I mean, for competition purposes, but for right now, especially after the past 12 years, didn't matter who we got. We're probably not beating Ohio State.
That's also
Doesn't matter who Franklin gets. Man, it's going to be the same song and dance every year. So he can. Nice. Well, subscribe, man.
Yeah.
We respect Ohio State. So
yeah, absolutely, good program. But yeah, and actually, didn't somebody put in today? Oh, it was wasn't it Alabama? What's his name? Paul Feinbaum. Didn't Paul Feinbaum put in his pick for Ohio State to win the Natty this year? I think he did this morning or yesterday.
For who?
Yeah, I think he put it in for Ohio State. I think he picked Ohio State to win the Natty this year. Although that might actually be a bit of a curse because I don't know that Paul Feinbaum has a great history with that, other than with Nick Saban. But
so that's the thing. Last year they were number one the whole season. I knew, like, dude, they're not number one. Like, they should not be number one. They were number one all year.
They had more issues on staff.
Like, I understand why they said that, but dude, I knew Ohio State was not truly the number one team. I mean, they lost to Miami, dude. Like,
yeah, Miami was a good football team, but
they were.
I had Ohio State pretty high on my list last year. I think Ohio State just had, I don't know if you call it natty hangover, maybe a little bit of it, where it happens. Like it happens to teams. It kind of seemed like they had a little bit of it, but also it was tough competition last year. But yeah, George, I mean, that's just what I'm saying. You're going to see a whole lot of stuff happen over the next 6 months. So if you're worried about recruiting classes too much right now, I would tell you, just relax and let it play out. But yeah, I think what I was talking about before with the coaches and with the way that stuff happens, I'd say you look at the schools, who's really patient with coaching staffs. Mark Richt got 12 years or more than that at Georgia. Surprisingly, Notre Dame was actually pretty patient with Brian Kelly too. And Penn State waited 12 years with James Franklin. Most of those guys, they'd have been, like, you send them to LSU, they'd be fired in 2 to 3 years. The LSU is not patient with coaches. So I don't know. Lane Kiffin might have walked himself into quite a bind, but we'll see what happens. But I think Ohio State's historically been reasonably patient with coaches. But actually, really, Juck, you should be more concerned with Michigan's situation, if anything, because Michigan did get themselves a pretty darn good coach.
They have a lot of young talent, man. Like, that is a good young talented roster.
They do have they've been stacking talent for a little bit. But yeah, the big thing with them was I really did not think they'd land a coach that I know is a good coach.
Yeah.
So that was actually because they were so, it was so late in the game that they had to deal with that. But Utah did them a solid on that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, so he just straight up retired then unretired. Like, why did he do that? Do you know why? Because
he got pushed out at Utah. So his protege at Utah is their current head coach. And basically there was like this unofficial agreement that he was going to take over for him when he retired, but then he didn't retire when they thought he would. And it became this whole thing. And then the word on the street is that, like, they kind of pushed him out this year to get the protege in. And so he retired so that they could close the contract a certain way. And then Michigan hired him off of that. So he just kind of retired and unretired to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not, given Michigan's situation, they couldn't have gotten luckier. Like, honestly, they could not have gotten luckier landing him. But it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
So yeah, for sure. Brett just said Caleb Bacon got married. So good for him.
Oh, did he? Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So we got some good news. I don't know if we can say it yet, but we got some good news. You'll hear tomorrow, guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So okay. You saw that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's can you search certain players on
What are you looking for? On
I'm
three?
on 247.
247. Yeah, you can go by player on either one.
All right, I'm just gonna look it up.
Yeah, sometimes 247s is a little buggy, but
So I don't know. I better not say anything.
no, I would leave it go till tomorrow.
Yeah, but
But
sounds like we're gonna get some good news tomorrow. So it's not Khalil Taylor. I'll say that. I love Whittingham too. Not a fun spot.
I mean,
so
he's gonna give you a fight. There's no question. It'll make the game interesting this year, though, right? Which is always
Absolutely.
a plus. I always say, like, you know, it's so easy to get irritated that you're like, oh man, your opponent did something smart. Like, obviously, you want to win, right? But I've never been the type to, like, I don't care about kicking people when they're down. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll take the win. But, like, honestly, if I have the option, I would much rather the game be a lot of fun and exciting for everybody, and we win anyway, right? So if I'm Ohio State, like, you know, I'd be like, good. I want this to be an exciting showdown where we beat them anyway, right? So that's why I said, like, you know, it was a shame that West Virginia got bad right before we had our series with them, because that could have been a lot of fun if they were both good at the same time.
Yeah.
But it makes the games more fun. It makes the sport better. So
yeah. I mean, like Brett said, he's excited for Michigan. I am too, because again, I think we can beat Michigan. I think we can beat USC.
Yeah.
The guy I was talking to last night, he said, imagine being 5-0 going into USC.
Yeah, the USC game, that could be a really fun game.
Because
one of
here's
those, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the whiteout actually means something now, because we can actually, based on our opponent, we don't know if we're going to lose now.
Right.
You know, like Oregon, I was hopeful, but because, dude, he just old loudmouth had us all fired up. But I thought we could win, but obviously we can't, because it was Oregon and they were better than us. Not really, but they kind of were. Somewhat formidable opponent, at least. We lost. But now going into the whiteout, USC, hey, we know we have a chance to win now. Unless we're really sucking at that point. I don't think we will be, because we got Wisconsin, I think, before that. But, yeah, we can beat USC. We can beat Michigan. And that's going to be interesting, because and I do think Michigan Ohio State will be a good game next year too, because they got a lot of good talent. Whittingham is there now, and they still got their quarterback Bryce Underwood. I mean, whether he's good or not, or he's living up to the hype, he's still pretty talented. I mean, he's really not good at all, but
yeah, well,
Whittingham is a real coach. So
I was going to say he hasn't developed yet, but Kyle Whittingham has a good track record with quarterbacks. So he might have been, like I said, he was kind of a blessing in disguise for Michigan. Like, that was a big save for them to get him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, Michigan's one of the biggest wild cards of the Big Ten this year. Us and Michigan are big time wild cards. USC has a ton of talent stacked up. I think people are just not sold that Lincoln Riley can win. For good reason, to be fair. But you know, some part of me I still have to give props to Lincoln Riley for all the friggin' quarterbacks he's managed to put in the Heisman polling constantly. The man is really good at his job. The part of his job he's good at, he's insanely good at.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But
I'm not sure. This is kind of a random post, but
oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, the Washington game, George, could be a very interesting game. We have a couple of. It's going to depend a lot on kind of how things are going. So, like, yeah, if we don't really have trouble with Wisconsin, and we're looking pretty sharp going into the USC game, let's say we're sharper than expected. and we take one of the two between USC and Michigan, but not both of them, right? So, you know, we get one of the two, let's say USC because it's at Penn State. But then, you know, Whittingham in Michigan proves to be a little too much. And then we're rolling into the Washington game. The Washington game is one of those, like, that could trip you up. That's a tough one because I think that's a road game, right? I believe that's a road game. We don't have them at home, right? As a road game all the way on the West Coast, and Washington's a really good venue for football. It's an underrated football venue. The Huskies fans really turn out well. So that could be a really fun game. And B, could be a tough fight. So especially if the Huskies have if they're doing pretty well. So
Northwestern could be a good fight too. You know, new first game in a new stadium. Like,
yeah, they've been doing a lot better.
Yeah, and they do have a good coach. So, you know, that's certainly not a pushover opponent either. I mean, we got an easy schedule, thank God. Yeah. I don't know. So I know our previous coach had a lot more power than people probably think. The schedule this year, if he had anything to do with it, I know what he was doing. He was trying to set it up so like if we didn't live up to the hype this past year, then he could say like, oh, well, look how we did this year.
Well, also he knew his 22 class was gone. Right. So like he was probably trying to soften it a bit going into this year.
You think that's what happened?
I think so. I think he looked at the timing of things and they were like, all right, don't get too crazy with the scheduling this year. Control what we can. And because he knew like they were going to be all that big 22 class was going to be gone and they were going to be trying to reset a bit regardless.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he's not the first guy to do that, by the way. Like there are plenty of coaches around the sport who when they get a chance to influence the schedule, they do that a little bit. Right. So, but but the Big Ten schedule I think it was just, you know, I don't know. Maybe we got friends on the Big Ten committee who are trying to help us out a little bit. But the Big Ten schedule, we kind of rolled. We just happened like we rolled one of the best schedules we could ask for, given the situation. Now again, there's teams on there who could surprise people, and that's just the nature. You play in a big conference, like just because a team's been down doesn't mean they'll continue to be down. So. But USC USC has the talent to play with anybody in the sport. So if they come out and they're just, you know, running at 1,000 miles an hour, they could be a tough out for anybody. And, you know, Michigan with Whittingham is a wild card. So, you know, we could get to late October, early November, and we're staring down a Big Ten that doesn't look anything like we thought it would. Like you could get there and it's like Michigan's undefeated, and and USC is one loss, and they've taken out a couple of guys along the way, and it's like, all of a sudden the teams leading the Big Ten aren't who we thought they were, or you have 3 teams stacked up at the top who are all undefeated. It could be a weird year in the Big Ten because it's been a long time since we've had this many wild cards of big programs, right? Where bigger programs are like nobody really knows who they're going to be yet. So,
well, who thought that Indiana would win it all last year, and who thought that, you know, that Mendoza would win the Heisman? You know, you just never know. You know.
Yeah.
All right, so trying to find the top 25 because there is a top 25 right now. I did see.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. Gosh darn it. Where is the top 25?
Well, you could. I think ESPN has one that you can look at, but then also, you just want to look at the 2026 list. So this is probably still looking at 20. Oh, that is 2026. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Ohio State's number 1.
Yep.
All right. Oregon's 2.
Yep.
Georgia 3. Notre Dame 4. That's just an absolute joke. Texas Longhorns 5.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana 6. Miami. Ole Miss. Ole Miss. Wow.
That one surprises me. Yeah.
Yeah. A&M, LSU. So Ole Miss is higher than LSU.
Yeah.
Texas Tech,
Yep.
BYU, Oklahoma, Michigan, Penn State. That's surprising. But so who do you think, Aaron? Who do you think? You good on time?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Who do you think we're looking at next year? Okay, so now I was going to say this too. The playoff is now 12 teams. I think it's going to 14. And we said on here, make it like the top 12 teams. Okay. If you're going to make it 14, then that's your Tulane and that's your JMU. But make it the top 12. They get in, and then it's the two G5, whatever it is. So if you want to make it 14, fine. But at least make it where the top 12 teams get in. If you're going to do, I think it should be 8 teams, but do the top 12. So at the end of the year, I think Oregon's going to be pretty good. So I think it's going to be like Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame gets an automatic bid. Texas, I don't know. Indiana, I don't know. Miami, I don't know. Ole Miss, I think they got a good shot because of their quarterback and their coach is pretty good. A&M, again, I think they got some. They got some chances there. LSU for sure. I don't know if they make the playoff, but they're certainly in the running. Texas Tech is out. BYU, I think they could make it. Oklahoma, I think they got a shot. Michigan, that's another team. Like they could get in. Penn State's got a shot. Alabama. Washington. Got a shot, I guess. USC, Iowa. Like you just said, they got a shot.
It's just, there's a lot of X factor teams out there. And the thing is, like
Tennessee.
To me, so one of the things that's going to be a problem, and this is, again, it was the super conference thing I've been complaining about for years, which is at the end of the day, you bat 500 against yourself. So there's a world where the biggest problem the SEC has right now is that Florida and Auburn got themselves coaches and they actually get better. Because if they get better, now suddenly there's not enough wins to go around, quite frankly. Somebody's going to have to eat it, right? You can't have a situation where everybody's good at the same time. Somebody's got to lose. So who's going to be the victim of that? Is it going to be Mississippi? Is it going to be Texas A&M, Texas? Who's going to suffer for it? Because the reality is you're probably not getting 6 teams in. I don't think anybody's going to be able to manage that, not in a 12-team format. And so you have this weird situation where there's a world where the SEC just beats themselves to death and they only get 3 or 4 teams in because there's too many teams with 8 wins and 4 losses just scattered everywhere. And, the ACC has fixed their really dumb self-ranking issue that they had last year that caused them to have that weird play or that weird ACC championship game. So there's a really solid chance at least one ACC team is going to get in. Probably whoever wins the conference. I would say if I had to guess, like SMU would probably be my first choice behind Miami. So I expect SMU and Miami to be playing for that conference, barring a return to form by Clemson. If Clemson figures it out and returns to form, then maybe them and Miami are the leaders there. But the SEC, like Georgia, you know what you're getting with Georgia. They're probably going to win the SEC because they just always find a way to. But can Alabama get in? Like, do they have another 9-3 campaign? Like, it's just there's so many ways to lose right now there because all those teams keep getting closer and closer together. I think you're stuck with Notre Dame in there. I think they're going to get a spot probably.
Yeah, they get an automatic bid or something, don't they?
It's almost that way, it seems like. But the Hoosiers, like, do you really count the Hoosiers out? I wouldn't. right? Like I'm not counting the Hoosiers out.
No.
Miami, they're the best team in the ACC. They would have to have a pretty big fall off to not make it. But then you have you have LSU. LSU would be, does LSU make it? Because if LSU is really good, which they certainly spent the money to be really good, somebody has to lose. So who's the victim of that? Is it Alabama who gets kicked out if LSU's good? And then the Big Ten, you have the three that you would just pick right from the get-go, which is Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. But then you have a lot of mystery teams floating around who could all win 10 games. Like, it's not a stretch, given our schedule, it's not a stretch for Penn State to win 10 games. It is not a stretch for USC if they pan out to win 10 games. It's not a stretch for Michigan to win 10 games. So if you have 6 Big Ten teams all with 10 wins, there's a world where you get 3 SEC teams, 6 Big Ten teams, and then you get a mixture of the champion of the what do you call it? What's the word they like to use? The 5 other conferences.
The Power 5?
Not the Power 5. Well, I guess, do they use that term? Not the Power 4 and the. I'm drawing a blank now, but the term they use for everybody who's not one of the power conferences, because they get one bid from whoever the best team is that comes out of that, and then you have
G5.
Thank you. And then you have one from the Big 12 and one from the ACC. One of them would have to get booted. So it's just, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of compression at the top by the end of the year, where there's very little room for error, which is, good for competition's sake, but will also probably lead to a lot of complaints about the format again. But yeah, and then you have the unknowns in the Big Ten, like Washington could surprise people. You have, I know Nebraska keeps coming short, but Nebraska could surprise you. Iowa's always Iowa. You just never know with them. I know Penn State inadvertently did Iowa a favor by making Iowa State a game that they're going to win again probably.
Yeah.
So they can there's a world where they can get to 10 wins.
Yep.
So it's just, there's a crazy world where the SEC suffers massively from the fact that it's almost too competitive for its own good right now, and that there's everybody wants to be the best at the same time, and all the rosters have evened out over there, and so now the Alabamas and Georgias of the world don't have this big advantage they used to have. So, and then you have to deal with guys like even Oklahoma. We didn't even mention the Sooners. They're not even showing on that list. The Sooners probably have the best defense. I mean, Brett Venables is ridiculously good at his job on defense.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to have something to say about who gets in by the end of it. So, yeah, it's a really interesting year. I'm excited about it because I love when football's chaotic because it kind of makes it for some of the most fun stuff to happen. At the same time, the chaos can backfire, but I would expect, Big Ten, you're going to expect Oregon, you're going to expect Ohio State, and you're going to expect Indiana probably at this point. And then, USC, Michigan, and Penn State are all interesting. 2 of us are total wild cards. USC is a little bit of a wild card. And then you have Washington, who they'll probably have something to say about who makes it before it's over. Even if they don't make it themselves, they'll probably have an impact on it.
So I'm writing out the teams here. All right. So who wins the Big 12?
The Big 12, I have a dark horse on the Big 12 myself.
BYU.
Houston.
Okay.
Connor Weigman was a five-star caliber player, and he's playing for Willie Fritz. That's pretty scary because Willie Fritz knows his job. And
Miami wins the ACC, right?
I would probably take Miami. SMU though has had Miami's number for a couple of years, so don't totally count out SMU as a surprise dark horse there.
In no particular order, I have Ohio State, Georgia, Houston, and Miami in the top 4 because it goes to conference champion. All right, so who's the rest? We got Oregon, we got Notre Dame. Notre Dame's guaranteed, right?
Notre Dame's going to be one. The only way Notre Dame doesn't get a bid is if they somehow burn 3 games where they just lose against very, very lesser competition.
So we got,
I don't see Marcus Freeman messing that up that much because he is a good coach. So
yeah, he is. Do we have any? Is the G5s getting in again?
Yeah, I think they still have a guaranteed bid for at least one team. I don't think that's changed yet. So
it's a group of 6 representative.
Yeah, and I would probably still expect. Well, I would say Boise State. There's a world where UNLV gets it, or I don't think James Madison. But Tulane, Memphis, Boise State, or UNLV, one of them 4 would be my pick.
Okay, so we'll just say UNLV.
Mm-hmm. I think that's very believable.
All right, so UNLV. So we got Notre Dame. So the top 4 is Georgia, Ohio State, Houston, and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we got UNLV and Notre Dame.
Yep.
All right, so we got Oregon, Texas, Indiana.
No.
Do they make it? One of those 3 teams.
Yeah, I think all 3 of them probably are in.
Oregon, Texas, and Indiana. You think they all make it?
I think they all make it. Yeah.
Okay, so we got 3 spots left.
Yep.
We got Ole Miss, A&M, LSU, Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is out.
I think Tech's out. If they don't win the Big 12, I don't think they make it.
BYU, Oklahoma, Michigan, PSU, Bama, Washington, USC, SMU, Tennessee. So, oh, man.
And then the outside dark horse for the SEC would be Missouri. But or South Carolina, but I have doubts about South Carolina. The last 3 spots, if it was me, if I had to guess now, which is the way too early, my way too early would be those last 3 spots. I'd probably take, because of their roster, probably. Oh man, that's tough because the SEC teams are the ones that are really hard to pick from the group because there's just going to be. I just see so much annihilation of each other happening in the SEC this year. Yeah. I think Mike Elko's proven that he knows how to get the job done. So I give Texas A&M.
Okay.
I think they find a way out of that mess. Then I actually would take 2 Big Ten teams. And I'm going to say give me Michigan and Penn State as the surprises. Okay. I think Michigan and Penn State surprise people.
So can you think of the seeds off the top of your head right now? Hold on. I'll pull up the bracket. So this will help you.
Yeah. I can tell you, I think because of Penn State's schedule, we would be one of the last seeds. Because even if we were if we went 11-1, we wouldn't be a last seed. But if we go 10-2, we would definitely be eking in because we wouldn't have a great strength of schedule.
We're going to be 10.
Yeah, we would get one of the last UNLV seeds because the UNLV seed would be the last seed. But
okay, so we'll write it up right now. Okay, so I'm drawing out the bracket. Okay, so it goes 12 versus 6, right?
Yeah, I believe 12-6. Yeah.
9-8. 11 and 12-5.
Yeah.
11-6, and then 10-2. Or no, not 10-2. 10-7, and then it's who plays. Who played? Okay, did I do this wrong? Yeah, I did. All right, so it's gonna be okay. So let's seed it right now. So who's number one?
So we would have. Hold on.
Georgia?
I'd still probably bet the Big Ten champion, so probably Ohio
Okay.
State.
Ohio State's number one in the playoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two would probably be Georgia if they win the SEC.
Okay. Now who plays two? Which seeds play two?
I have to look at their graphic for how they do it. I believe
10
two
versus 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say
plays-
2 plays 10, right? That makes sense.
Or I'm sorry, 10 versus 7 plays 2. So that would be, you say Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay. And then number 3 seed would play 11 versus 6. And that is Miami, I guess, right?
Yeah, Miami would most likely be the 3 seed in that scenario.
Okay. So we're at 10. $12 would be, you said you think UNLV.
Yeah, I think. Hold on, I'm trying to. Yeah, 12 would be UNLV in that scenario.
Okay. Who's 11? Notre Dame?
No, Notre Dame probably gets one of the. If they're, let's say they're 11 wins, they probably are sitting at like 8 or 9 in the seeding.
Okay. Notre Dame, 8 or 9. Okay. We'll just go with 9 for Notre Dame. And then Georgia. So it's 1.
You'd have 5. 5 would be Indiana. 4 would be Houston.
5 is Indiana. 4 is Houston. Yep. Who's number 8?
8 would be the SEC carry, which would be Texas A&M.
Okay. Number 6. That would be
6 would be, let's see, Indiana's high Big Ten. 6 would be the ACC. No, not the ACC champion. It would be 6 would be actually that would be the first SEC seat. So first after the champion seat. So that would be either LSU or A&M probably.
well, we picked A&M, so we'll say LSU.
Yeah,
Who's 11 again? Sorry.
11 would be Penn State in that scenario.
PSU. Okay.
Yeah.
And then who's 10?
11 would be Michigan would be 10.
Michigan. Okay. And then who's 7?
Where were we at? So 6 would be
6 is LSU.
Yeah.
And then 7 would be what, another Big Ten? Or
let me double think this. 7 would be, let's see, you got your ACC, we got our Big 12.
Yeah, we got Indiana.
7 would be Notre Dame. 7 would be Notre Dame, actually. Yeah. That's
okay. So I have Notre Dame at 9 right now.
Okay. Yeah, they
so
would.
Who would be 9 then?
They would actually seat in between. Yeah. So they would actually be 7, and then 8 would be.
A&M's 8.
A&M would be 8. Yeah.
And then 9 is how am I getting this?
Texas. Oh, we missed Texas. I wasn't thinking
Texas. Okay, so Texas would be 9. You think?
Texas would be 6 because they would be the first seed after the SEC champion. So they would be 6.
Then LSU is 9.
Yeah, LSU would be 9. Yeah.
Okay, so we got UNLV versus Indiana, 12 versus 5. LSU versus A&M at 9 and 8. PSU versus Texas at 11 and 6. Michigan versus Notre Dame at 10 and 7.
Yeah.
All right. So
who do we have? Who we have 9? Yeah.
LSU.
That's LSU spot. That's right. Okay.
So then we're gonna have Indiana and Houston. We're gonna have LSU or A&M. Who wins that? We'll just say A&M.
Yeah, I'm actually getting something here for you. I'm gonna send it over to you. Make it a little easier to visualize. So
you send it on email?
I'll drop it in chat.
Okay.
So
thanks for writing it up.
Yeah, I was going through the list in my head because I was like, I need to build this model with it. I'm just doing a model build real quick on it to make it a little.
Oh, nice. All right, that works.
Yeah, takes a little bit to generate, but here we go. All right, so this should be based off of the brackets you would have seen in 2025.
Okay. Holy crap.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean,
you just wrote that up. Jeez.
It's imperfect, but yeah, it's roughly there. So
how'd you do that? Is that like AI or something?
That's just some AI. Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Aaron, the computer tech guy, wrote it up for us. You saw it here first. You saw it nowhere else. The Mark Lesko Podcast.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just a quick generation based on the 2025 model. But the short answer is it looks like you'd have Notre Dame and Michigan. And then you'd have Texas A&M with LSU, Indiana with UNLV.
So I have Indiana playing Houston, OSU playing A&M. Who wins between Penn State and Texas?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I mean, okay, let's just say Penn State beats Texas, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Georgia plays Michigan or Notre Dame. Who do they play?
Michigan would be playing Notre Dame. I take Michigan in that.
Okay, so we got Michigan and Georgia. Okay, hold on.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so we got Indiana and Houston. Indiana wins against Houston. OSU beats A&M, you think?
Yeah, I would take them. Yeah.
OSU. PSU beats Miami or loses to Miami?
Let There we go. There's the actual matchup board. A little easier to read. But the PSU versus, so first round, Texas and Penn State. Because we're such a wild card, it's really hard for me to know. If we're playing good football, I could see it being a problem for Texas. It's hard for me to pick against them given their advantages there, obviously athletically. But I'm gonna go ahead and be a homer and say Penn State finds a way past them.
Past Texas, and then do we beat Miami?
Ooh, Miami's good enough to make the playoff. I made the mistake of thinking their coach didn't have it before. He does have it, as it turns out.
Yeah.
But I
we got to be real.
I can't. Okay. Realistically, I probably couldn't see us winning that. But I also don't like Miami. So give me Penn State. Go ahead and be a homer.
All right. So PSU's making the top 4. Georgia and Michigan, Georgia.
Yes, yeah, I'll take Georgia in that one.
Okay, so our top 4. Now, I think we lose to Texas, and then Texas beats Miami. If Arch Manning's playing how he should, they beat Miami.
Yeah.
But for right now, we got Indiana, OSU, PSU, Georgia. That's the final 4.
Yeah.
All right, so OSU beats Indiana, right? Well, I don't know.
Ooh. That's going to be a battle. I can't pick against Indiana right now. I just can't.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not going to make the Josh Pate mistake.
So TCU quarterback Josh Hoover is now Indiana's quarterback.
Yes.
All right, so we got Indiana versus PSU or Georgia.
Yeah. That one I think should end up being Georgia. Winner of 7-10. Oh, no. Yeah, because Georgia would play Penn State because Penn State would be the winner of the 7-10 game. Or no, sorry. No, they would play they play Michigan, actually. Georgia beats Michigan. So it'd be the winner. It should be the winner of Georgia and Michigan that would play Penn State. So it should be Georgia.
Georgia. All right.
Yeah,
so top
Georgia,
4. Georgia beats Penn State in the final 4.
Yeah, and here I can't homer that hard.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So we're ending up with Indiana and Georgia.
Yeah.
Like if we're going off of last year, man, Indiana beats Georgia. I mean,
probably, but it's hard to pick against Kirby.
I know. Gunnar Stockton is the starter for Georgia, so they got a good experienced quarterback. Indiana doesn't technically.
Yeah, I don't like that's a real toss-up game to me. Indiana and Georgia right now. Both really experienced, both really, really good coaching staffs. I might actually take Georgia. And the only reason I would take Georgia is consistency over time. And Georgia is less dependent on the portal. So Georgia's players are more predictable for them. But, I mean, I wouldn't at all be surprised if Indiana won.
All right. Indiana. So it's Indiana. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So to go through it again, I'm writing it down again. Just give me a second here. PSU and Miami. Okay, so Indiana beats Houston.
Indiana beats UNLV.
UNLV.
From the beginning. Yeah, so Indiana beats UNLV. Penn State beats Texas. Michigan beats Notre Dame. Texas A&M beats LSU.
Yep.
Then
Okay.
Ohio State beats Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia beats Michigan. Miami loses to Penn State. Penn State beats Miami. And then what else do we have? Houston versus Indiana. And yeah, Indiana beats Houston.
Yep.
Then Indiana
Beats Ohio. You think
Indiana beats Ohio State. Yeah, and then Georgia beats Penn State, and then Indiana and Georgia play. Yeah. Absolutely right, though, Coach Soup. It's going to take a while before we can get a real temperature. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Because it takes a long time. Like I said, even with Franklin, I did not develop a full opinion of him for almost 6 years. It took a while. Before I was just like, okay, yeah, there's some things, something's not right here. But it takes a really long time. Even Mark Richt did Georgia, same thing. In fact, like when coaches do better, it takes longer to develop an opinion, right? Because it's hard to know like what's fueling that success. Sometimes a very average coach will be held up by a program that spends a lot of money, right? Or a program that's just really healthy and well put together will hold a guy up. So, I mean, we're still doing that with the NFL, with the Philadelphia Eagles. Nobody's really sure who Nick Sirianni is. Is he a good coach? I don't know. Right? Like, is he being held up by Howie Roseman and the staff? I don't know. You know? But suffice it to say, like, it takes a long time to really evaluate a coach. So
we know Andy Reid's a good coach.
Well, in Matt Campbell's case, I have no doubt that he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Because he has been doing it for a long time. And if you've watched him, if you watched his teams and you watched his stuff, he finds ways to win. He's very good at what he does. And he develops players really well. But I have no doubt he's a good coach. I don't like how it's going to go at Penn State. Like if it's a good fit, if it's, you know, if we're on the same page for sure, those are the things we're hearing. But yeah, it's going to take a while to know, you know. But
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Campbell's been coaching already for like 15 years. So we do have a pretty good idea who we got already. But I hear fireworks firing. It's today. It's not July. You guys are 2 weeks too early.
Yeah.
My
People
neighbors,
set off fireworks around here like when a fly dies.
yeah, my neighbors get carried away with it. It's time of year.
So, okay. So just to reiterate, 5 Indiana plays 4 Houston. 1 OSU plays 8 A&M. 11 PSU plays 3 Miami. 10 Michigan plays 4 Georgia. Georgia beats Michigan. PSU beats Miami. This is just for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
OSU beats A&M. Indiana beats Houston.
Yeah.
Georgia beats Penn State. Indiana beats OSU. And then Georgia wins it all.
Yeah.
I think realistically, I think realistically, like Indiana and Georgia could end up meeting.
Yeah. Along the
If
way.
we got the seeds right, I think we got the seeds
I was
right.
going to say, even if the seeds slide even a little bit, it totally changes the bracket, right? So
Yeah.
Obviously there's
But
a whole lot
I think
of
we got
room.
them. I think we got them right.
But it would be very interesting. And it would be very funny if it was also like a total flip and Houston somehow, you know, beats Indiana and keeps going or something like.
Again, honestly, man, if I were to really just be optimistic right now, I think Penn State beats USC. The game I think they could lose is Michigan. So let's say they go 11-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say they go 11-1.
Yeah, then they would seed as either the first or second after the Big Ten champion. So it'd be Big Ten champion, and they would seed either first or second after that.
Yeah, so they would be – well, if we lose to Michigan, then is Indiana still ahead of us? Michigan's still ahead of us. I don't know because
Not
Michigan –
necessarily. Yeah, because it depends on how
Yeah.
their season goes. So, like,
All right.
if Michigan beats us but doesn't win the Big Ten, it means they had to have lost 2 other ones somewhere, right? So In that scenario, Michigan maybe doesn't make the playoff, but Indiana, let's say Indiana goes to the Big Ten championship and loses to Ohio State, they may end up seating below us in that situation. So we would then get 5 and Indiana would end up 8 or 9, somewhere in there. So 8, 9, or 10, something like that. But it just depends. Again, like, unfortunately, like, you losing your conference championship might seat you lower now. It's just a weird issue that can happen. But,
All right, so we could be. You're saying we could be 5.
you could be 5 if you're 11-1, and you're coming out of the Big Ten where you didn't play for the Big Ten title because, I don't know, Oregon or you know, that's another one. But and there it is again. It's like, does Oregon not make the bracket? That's a tough sell. You know, we don't have
Oregon in there.
We don't. And so you could, and I would say, like, if you were asking me who would you take out, I would take LSU out for Oregon in that scenario. And
Yeah.
I could totally see that, like, where the Big Ten gets an extra one in because the SEC is just kind of tearing themselves up. But I don't think it changes who I think is going to play for the title, because I think, like, the teams I would view as national championship contenders, like real ones this year, it's probably Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Miami, maybe if Miami hasn't had too much churn for it. And then possibly, like, Texas maybe being they could be a 5th one. That would be, I believe that they're playing for the whole thing. So all of those teams, and I mean, there's a world where Oregon's playing for it. I just don't know. I'm not sold on it yet, but
Okay, so I have it written up again because, again, our schedule's so favorable. That's why our record could be good. So
yeah.
We seeded the top 4 wrong too. So OSU is 1, Indiana is 2.
Oh no, Indiana would not be, because only the champions get seeded in the first 4, right? So
Right.
Yeah, if OSU wins the Big Ten, they're the one in that scenario.
No, wait, did we seed it right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you would have the champions. Now, the Big 12 champion is not guaranteed one of those first 4 seats. So we're kind of assuming they would get one of those 4, but they're not guaranteed that. That's just how it happened to happen last year. But so there's a world where, like, if Indiana's only loss is Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, they might get seeded 4, and Houston might get pushed because of that. But Houston wouldn't get pushed out; they just get pushed back.
All right. So right now we got Houston at 4, OSU at 1, Miami at 3, Georgia at 2, UNLV at 12, PSU at 5. So let's do Oregon right now.
I would still have Oregon in that scenario because Indiana, Ohio State, and Penn State are crushing up against the top of the Big Ten. In that scenario, Oregon would still be where LSU was at 9.
Okay.
Because Oregon would be 10-2 and would get seeded down a little bit because of that. But they would basically fall right where LSU was going to fall.
So where's Indiana then? A&M's at 8. I have A&M at 8.
Yeah, Penn State's 5. Indiana slides. If Indiana gets to 4, then that's a scenario where the Big 12 champion is less respected or whatever. Houston would take Penn State's spot at 11 in that scenario.
Oh, really? Okay, so who's number 4 then?
4 would be Indiana in that situation.
Really? Even though they're not the champion?
Yeah, because remember, the Big 12, the only champions that are guaranteed buys is the Big 10 and SEC champion. And then I think the ACC champion is not guaranteed either, but we're assuming Miami is still Miami in this scenario, in which case they would get the 3rd seed, presumably. So Houston's the only question mark. If we assume that what happened with Texas Tech doesn't really happen with the Big 12 this year, and Houston wins the Big 12, Houston would be seen as, like, they're in because they won the Big 12, maybe not because the committee would have chosen them outright normally. So at that point, they would seat them near the back where the group of 5 usually gets that last seat. So they would get seat 11, and then the group of 5 would get 12. So
who's 6?
6 is still Texas in that situation.
Notre Dame is still 7.
Yep. Notre Dame would
Michigan.
stay put.
Michigan's 10.
Yeah, Michigan. This is a scenario where the Big Ten puts in extra teams because the SEC is beating themselves up. So Michigan would still get 10 in this scenario. Michigan or USC, I would take either of them there. And then you're just down one SEC team for Oregon instead, which is very believable. But,
okay, so PSU plays Indiana.
Yeah,
because we're beating UNLV.
Yes.
Oregon or A&M?
I'd still take A&M.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be close. Be real close.
Houston or Texas? Texas.
Houston or Texas? I'd take Texas. Yeah.
And then Michigan beats Notre Dame.
Yeah, I would still have Michigan favored in that one.
Okay, so then it's Indiana PSU.
Yeah. And in that scenario, we probably don't win that one.
Yeah. Indiana. Well, it depends, but yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. OSU beats A&M, right?
Yes, I'd still have OSU beat A&M. Yeah.
Miami or Texas?
Miami or Texas would be very interesting. That would be a very interesting game. Because of the matchups, I might actually take Texas.
Yeah, I was going to take Texas. Then Georgia beats Michigan.
Yeah, still have Georgia.
And then we got Indiana beating OSU, right?
Indiana would be the winner of, because Indiana would be 4. They would face the 5-12, which is Penn State. They win 4 plays 1, which would be Ohio State and Indiana. Yeah. So 4 plays 1. I'd still have, we still have Indiana. We'd still end up with Georgia and Indiana because I'd still have Georgia against Texas. Yeah. Because, 2 would play 3. That would be Georgia, Texas.
If Michigan beats Notre Dame, OSU doesn't play a 10 seed, right? They stay in that bracket, right?
Right. So the way it would work is your remaining bracket would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So Ohio State would still be 1. And then Georgia would still be 2 because they were alive. And then the team that beat Miami would be Texas. So they would be 3 then in the remaining bracket. And then 4 would be the winner of Indiana, Penn State, which would be Indiana. So 4 plays 1. So you'd still have Ohio State, Indiana. And then Georgia would play Miami. Or Georgia would play Texas, in that situation. Which would be a weird, almost like an SEC and Big Ten championship repeat on both sides of the bracket. But, that's kind of where the world's going to. But, and I would still have the same winners, actually. I'd still have Georgia and Indiana, I think. It would not surprise me if it ended up being Ohio State and Georgia in a rematch from 2021. Yeah.
All right, so it's Indiana, Georgia. Georgia wins it all.
Yeah, and Georgia wins it.
But the highlight is PSU made it to the top 4.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, the top.
Made it to the top. Made it into the playoff and got too deep into the playoff. So, which obviously would be, astronomical for a first-year effort. So, but.
Virginia Tech wins or loses the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys heard it here. Georgia's winning it all, and Penn State's making it to the top 8. So
yeah, I will say if we pulled Indiana, that would actually be our best case scenario because if you pull Indiana in the second round, you're not worried about being outmatched physically. It's a battle of coaching at that point.
For who?
For us, if us versus Indiana is not a case of being outmatched in terms of talent on either side of the ball. So
we're probably more talented, honestly.
Yeah, probably still a little bit, but even if you said, well, they're roughly equal, it would just be a battle of coaching. So the question is, can you out-coach Kurt Signetti? That's a tall order, but
I think no matter what, let's say we make the playoff.
mm-hmm.
I don't care if we're playing Ohio State. We got a chance.
Oh yeah, you have a fighting chance, and in this scenario, you're assuming the things have gone quite well already, right? Because obviously, if we got this far, it means that a lot of things have gone well. So,
so just for fun, let's predict our record. How about that?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I still have 10-2. As that's my personal expectation, like best case scenario. It's not necessarily that I expect us to do that. I would say I have a optimistic 9-3 would be my average, but I see 10-2 as a very strong possibility, especially if we take one of our big games. I think out of the three, with USC, Michigan, and Washington, I think there's two of those that we don't get away with. And even if we're playing pretty well, the two that would be the scariest are at Michigan and actually at Washington in a lot of ways, because those are both really like number one, you're just going really far away for the Washington game, and it's going to be on a weird time scale because you're on the West Coast. Or we take two of those, but then we have a weird, we say like a growing pains game with a surprising Wisconsin team that Luke Fickell finally got them kicking or something, right, along the way, which, that could happen. It's not something I would bet on, but I think 10-2, 9-3, 10-2 would be my expectation. If you were to just go like by the line, I would say 10-2, and we lose USC and Michigan. That would be what most people would look at. But there's a world where Washington has it going, and that's why I kind of left like a 9-3 there. It's like, yeah, I could see 9-3 if Washington has it going. I would say, Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, win. Wisconsin's our first interesting game in a lot of ways, like the game that I would be like, we'll see how that goes. The Northwestern game, I don't know, they're well coached, but I still think we shouldn't lose that game. And then USC and Michigan are both games you could lose reasonably. Purdue probably not going to be an issue. Washington is tough on the road. Minnesota could surprise you, but like I'm not too worried about that one. Rutgers, no offense to Sosha, but like it's tough to be a coach at Rutgers.
Yeah.
It is like, I feel for him in that sense because it just sucks, but it is what it is. So yeah, I still think 9-3 or 10-2. Looking at it.
All right. So again, this is just for fun. Win against Marshall, win against Temple, win against Buffalo. I think we win in pretty dominating fashion in all of them.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, we win, but it's a bit of a battle.
Yep.
Northwestern, we win, but I also think that could be a battle, but we pull away in the end, and like it's actually a convincing win.
Okay. Yeah.
USC, whiteout. First whiteout. It's going to be incredible. I think we win.
Okay.
Michigan, big house, probably at night. We'll see, unless Big Noon gets it. If we're healthy, man.
Well, there's that factor too.
I think we're the better team, but just roster-wise, I think we're better. But would you disagree with that?
I think in terms of pure talent, Michigan would have an advantage. I think Michigan's locker room is going to be as good as ours? I'd have my doubts about that.
Like who sticks out for you on Michigan that would make them more talented than us?
Well, it's just blue chip. It's just their blue chip situation.
Okay.
Like they just have more blue chips than we do. So just like they have technically more physical talent depth than we have. But it's not a massive difference. It's what I would call like it's a 50-50, like it's a small amount difference. But it's enough that it should impact the outcome of a game if they're well coached. Right.
With a first year head coach with Penn State, and a roster
and they'll be going through that too at Michigan. But they and it's interesting because Whittingham and Campbell know each other pretty well. They were both in the Big 12 for a while. So
yeah.
It'll be that game is actually really intriguing to me. But I do think in the big house that's a tall order. It is not it's not like a insurmountable thing, but it's a tall order. That's tall order even for like you go to like just winning at Michigan on a night game, if that is a night game, that's tough even if you're better than them. Ohio State's been burned multiple times when they had better teams than Michigan in that situation. So that's a tough win for anybody. I don't think it's the big house, probably at night. Either way, I don't think we win, but 2 first-year head coaches, what I meant to say, 2 first-year head coaches. But the thing is, Penn State's bringing 2 rosters together, and this is their first year, and Michigan is not. It's just one pretty much whole roster that, I don't know if he brought anyone from Utah or how exactly, but what happened with us did not happen in Michigan. Now, that was probably an even wilder overall situation, but still, their roster, I think, is pretty much intact, right? Yeah, for the most part, yeah. They largely kept their guys. They had, I think, 1 or 2 transfers out, but they didn't have a massive exodus of any kind.
So probably lose to Michigan. You think we beat USC? Yeah, you kind of already talked about it.
If it's at home, like if you were to ask me, like of these 3 games, which one would I favor us the most in? It would probably be USC because of it being at home and likely being a whiteout game. The only thing with USC is like technically they are the most talented roster we're going to see all year. So they have the most like high level blue chip guys. And so if talent was all there was to it, I would say USC would be too much. But at the same time, we know that, Lincoln Riley's had his share of issues, and we did kind of steal their defensive coordinator, and we don't know how that's going to go for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. If I was picking one of the big 3 that we were going to win, it'd be USC at home. And then Washington on the road, we might win that. And that was why I said like 11-1 is not unthinkable, because it's very possible that we win all but the Michigan game, right? That's a very possible thing. So
yeah, because I think we beat USC. I think we lose to Michigan. And honestly, like I feel like unless we really run into a buzzsaw in Washington, I think we win there too. So like we're looking at legitimately 11-1. Again, that's just possible.
Yeah.
But we're looking at 11-1. And then like our last bracket, we could end up at 5 because the way you said it, Indiana could get in at 4, even though they're not the Big Ten champion. It would be OSU, Georgia, Miami, and then Indiana. And then we would be at 5. We'd play UNLV.
Yeah, we get to 12.
Probably beating UNLV. And then we're playing Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana would play the winner of the 5-12. So.
Or Ohio State, depending on who wins there.
Yeah, who wins the Big Ten championship would dictate which one ends up where, right? Yeah. But
that could be the first time we play Ohio State under Matt Campbell, and we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, we're just there's a lot of wild cards in the Big Ten. Again, It's like USC has tons. They probably have as much talent as they're close to as talented as Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeah.
It's just it hasn't panned out for them. But and then Michigan, maybe they're not as talented as those teams, but they do have a really, really, really proven coach that they picked up. And I don't. Nobody knows how that's going to look in the Big Ten because Whittingham is not a Big Ten guy, right? Like he lived, he lives, eats, and breathes Utah until this year, right? Like he was at Utah his whole career, so it's hard to know what Whittingham's going to look like somewhere else. Like, you just got to wait until you see it, I guess. I know he's a good coach, so I doubt he's going to have like horrendous issues, but there's so many things that go into that, right? Like, you go to a university and suddenly people like the way you did things at Utah doesn't work there because they're a totally different place, which I would expect there to be a pretty stark difference between how they do things at Michigan versus how they do them at Utah, right? I would expect them to be pretty different. And so does he still thrive in that environment? Like, you'd be surprised what can knock somebody off their horse. So that's why I say, like, some coaches, they do really well. Nick Saban was a great example. Nick Saban did not find his horse until he got to Alabama, right? Like that's not true. He found his horse at LSU, but Michigan State was not his horse. It didn't work at Michigan State. Like, he was successful there, but he wasn't anywhere near what he was at LSU and Alabama.
I mean, we could use a lot of examples like NFL. Andy Reid, till he went to Kansas City, man.
He needed a different environment. So,
who else? Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he had his most success really in college.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to but he won a championship in college. He didn't win a championship in the NFL.
Yeah, and then he got fired because the environment, the people in charge were Brett York was horrendous, and or is it John York? I forget what his name is, but the guy in San Francisco was a horrendous dude. And eventually that relationship soured, and then, look what happened. So it matters a lot. Like, these organizations, there's so much stuff in these organizations that no one person really actually dictates the organization. And so you can have a coach who did super well in one environment and you throw him into another one and he can't find a win to save his life. So, and I think you see that sometimes with the hiring. Like, you look at what's his name in South Carolina. Like, he's having a hard time there.
Yeah, Beamer.
It's way up and down. Shane Beamer, yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I think you could maybe, if you transplanted him to Virginia Tech, maybe it's a totally different story, right? Because he's a Beamer, and
I mean, why wouldn't he be?
Right? It's like maybe it just jives better there. So, it's one of those things. A good coach doesn't do it themselves, and if they recognize that, they can have very, very different experiences in one place to another. But Whittingham, I would expect Whittingham to be good. It's just, it's just such a different world that he's going to. But
I mean, yeah.
It's the equivalent of transplanting me into Vietnam. Like, I didn't train for Vietnam, man. I trained for like Iraq.
Yeah.
So it might take me a little bit to figure it out, or I'd get killed by a punji stick on day one or something. Right. So,
Yeah.
But it's just, it happens. So I think, it sounds like Matt Campbell's driving super well at Penn State, which is great because that's usually a good sign.
That's definitely a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to look over the schedule again, realistically, like, this could happen. Temple could be a fight. Wisconsin could be a loss.
Yeah.
Northwestern, USC, Michigan, Washington, Minnesota. I mean, we could also be looking at a horrendous season as well. Like, we don't know, but yeah.
You just wouldn't expect it. So
nah.
And I think that's fair.
I mean, I've been hoping this for years, man, under Franklin. Like, I hope we beat the piss out of Marshall. We just run up the score. I've been wanting that. The only time we really ran up the score was against Idaho, 79-7, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that the score?
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful. So let's bring that back again. You know, running up the score.
I just want to see them play 60 minutes of football.
Yeah.
The score can
This
be
is just
45-14 or 45-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you played the entire game out and played excellent football the whole way, that'd make me happy because that's all I really want to see.
45-10 under Matt Campbell and Marshall is better than 46-11 against Nevada under Franklin.
It'll look better, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be respectable.
It'll just be good football, and that's all I want to see. I said that as like Franklin was frustrating because his teams didn't play good football. And
dude, Nevada was not a respectable win. To me, it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like
no, but it was like to me, it wasn't the score that was the problem. It was the way the game went. Like you looked at
field goals. Four field goals.
Because again, everything is a struggle. Why is everything a struggle? This is a game that these guys know how to play. Why are we making it harder than it has to be?
Always.
Right. And it was the same thing with I said like it looked a lot like Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, where it just getting a first down felt like pulling your teeth out of your mouth one at a time. So Franklin didn't like playing backups for whatever reason. I didn't really understand that either. But if you have, if you're winning by like 52, get your other guys some playing time.
I'll tell you the first and last time I saw Cam Wallace, that was against Indiana when he hurdled that guy. Against Nevada, we never saw him again.
Yeah, and then never saw him again.
I mean,
we almost didn't see Katron Allen again.
see that yeah, exactly. See, that's the thing. Like, yeah, exactly. We didn't.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's another thing, George. That's a great point. We never saw Kobe Howard. We never saw anybody. Okay. Grunkmeyer. We saw him against Nevada and FIU. We were playing to the bitter end. Villanova, right? We played Villanova. We played them to the bitter end.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Katron Allen has to seal the victory against Villanova with a long run at the end. Like, that is just So let's get our backups in. That's another thing Franklin never did, like George said.
Yeah.
Let's get our backups in midway through the third. Never happened.
Yeah. Very, very rare.
Like, my God.
It's one of those things. If you play consistent football and you're actually meaningfully better than your opponent, that'll happen naturally. Like that's just that you'll get to the point in the game where you look up and you go, what is it? Oh, it's 42 to 3. Okay. Get the second team out there. Right.
I beat FCS Midwest on a new dynasty last night on College Football 26, 91-0.
Yeah, because I mean, you have a big advantage, and like if you're playing good football the whole way, it's going to translate. You're going to have the score. But I think I said too is like good coaches, they have to look up at the scoreboard because they forget what the score is because they're so busy just winning the game, right? Like, so that's what you want to see. You want to see a coach who has to like midway through the third look up and go, put the second team in. It's over. So, because that's a sign that they've been too busy making sure everybody's doing what they got to do, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We never saw Kobe Howard, but we kept playing Liam Clifford. We kept running Nick Singleton, who literally had like a blindfold on when he was playing. No offense to him, but like
Coach Suit, man, you just didn't understand the brilliance that Franklin was doing. He was doing 5D chess moves.
Yeah.
By putting Clifford out there.
Mike Kresovich said it on here like 2 years ago. He's like, Liam Clifford wouldn't see the field at Ohio State. He'd probably be on the practice squad.
No.
And we had him throwing football as quarterback this year. Like, my goodness gracious, dude.
Yeah.
Did any of our tight ends do anything this year? Honestly. I forgot Khalil Dinkins was on the field.
Yeah, Dinkins had a couple of nice catches, but then they didn't really use them that much. Not when Franklin was doing things. But.
Like it's unbelievable, man. Like just But anyway, I can tell you this year, like Marshall, what I want to see is a good 60 minutes execution of football on both sides of the ball. I want to see Carson Hansen do good. I want to see Quentin touch the ball.
Yeah.
Cam touch the ball. James Peoples touch the ball. Let James Peoples go out and do a couple cartwheels, a couple backflips. I want to see Kobe Howard get the ball. I want to see Keith Jones get the ball. I want to see Brahmer Rapp. I want to see them all get the ball.
I think we'll see plenty of Rapp and Brahmer this year.
I want to see our backup O-lineman get in. I want to see our rotation at the defense. I want to see Tash get in.
Yeah,
I want to see, I want to see rotation with Bacon and Eskelson.
Yeah,
I want to see rotation with Vaughn Kamaju, Granville. I want to see rotation there. Like, dude, we can have fresh bodies coming in constantly. I mean, we don't have a ton of depth, but you know what I mean. Like, they're going to do it the smart way.
Yeah, and there's opportunities. Yeah. I'm sorry. Listen, don't you making me feel bad.
Y'all have got to learn how to say Brahmer.
Brahmer. Yeah, I know. I'm probably saying it the wrong way.
How do you say it? Can you
help me?
Bramer. Really?
Bramer. Is that true?
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
But
I did not know that.
Number one, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I actually one, I have a lot of love for the state of Iowa, and two, I always appreciated Iowa State. So I do feel bad about that one. But
is that Jim Carrey? Who is that profile picture? Is that the Grinch?
The Grinch.
I thought it was at first. I thought it was either the Grinch or a Barney character or a dinosaur.
I think it's a warped face, but yeah.
So all right, Bramer. I've heard that before.
I think I have heard people pronounce it that way before. So, which good to know. Good to know.
And by the way, I was also told last night. Okay. Terry Smith wanted to keep 12 players. He kept all 12.
Yeah.
So Chaz wasn't one of them. Amari Campbell wasn't one of them. Zariah Fisher wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, I won't say a name, but our quarterback wasn't doing what he should have been doing. So he left.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I do hope Iowa State. I hope Rodgers works out for Iowa State. But
yeah, man. Like I thought about that the other day. I'm like, man, Iowa State, like,
dude, that sucks. Yeah,
it does suck. Like, they got put in a real bad spot. Who's their quarterback? I don't even know. Lou, is that his name? Hayu 77.
Yeah.
What do you think about Iowa State this year? Like, what do you got? Like, what's going on down there? You know,
yeah. Rayner,
Jalen
that's
Rayner.
Right, Rayner. I do remember Jalen Rayner. Yeah. Also Arkansas State. Yeah, okay, that's right. He came from Arkansas State. Did Rodgers bring? Well, you never know. But also, Rodgers did really well at Washington State because he didn't have a lot to work with at Washington State, and he made pretty good. He made a pretty good work of it. Did Rodgers bring anybody with him from Washington State? Because I don't remember who all he got to go
Jimmy
with
Rodgers. So that's where he came from, huh?
Yeah, Rodgers came from Washington State. That's where he was coaching before. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though.
Okay, I was going to say I thought you guys got some guys from Wazoo.
I'm just going to call you Iowa State guy. Iowa State guy. Who stayed with you guys and didn't come here? I mean, Washington State, like, you know, you got a bunch of people from Washington State. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. Well, they
kick returner.
We just got, by the way, that, but like, yeah, it was rough, man, because
By the way, we got a kicker today. Number 10 in the class. Number 10 kicker in the class.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But
So that was good. But I tell you what though, the Wazoo guys, like, they know how to fight and win. I don't know. You guys could be better than you think. Like, also, there's a lot of parts of the Big 12 where it's like, I don't buy that team, right? So like, I'm not sold that Colorado is going to come charging back. So I don't know, man. I think I really hope that Rodgers keeps having, because Rodgers did a really good job at Washington State.
Big 12 really is, man, with Texas Tech. It's up in the air. It really is. So, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like I said, I think Houston's actually the most interesting team right now in the Big 12. But
3 teams I'm watching this year. Penn State, obviously.
We probably do, actually. Yeah, what he just
Iowa State, Virginia Tech. Those are the 3 teams I'm watching this year.
Yeah, we probably do have an easier strength of schedule than you guys do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got lucky with that one for sure. But
yeah, it would suck to be an Iowa State fan this year. Like, no offense, but it would suck.
Well, it's still like a new beginning, right? So just
listen,
be patient and give it some time.
We dealt with Franklin for 12 years, so you guys will be okay. You got a good coach, so
I believe that I think they've been pretty committed to football in a lot of ways there, and in ways that they weren't years like back in the early 2000s before they started seeing some success. And I think if they stay on that course, like, I don't see any reason they can't keep going. Like I said, I was really impressed with what Rodgers did at Washington State. So I think you guys got a good coach. Well, I mean, that's the beginnings, right? Like, you go 10-2, you go 9-3, you start averaging 8 wins a year. It doesn't take long. I said, like, that's how Utah started, because you look at like Utah when I was a kid, Utah was a nobody in the sport. Like, you didn't talk about Utah, right? Yeah. But then they started winning and they started competing and they won games against like with Iowa State beating Miami in 2024. And some of that stuff, they started winning games like that, and it got them into the national spotlight. And before you knew it, they got a shot in the Pac-12 and started impressing. And now people always think of Utah as being pretty good, right? So it just takes time. Boise State's another one. Boise State's won 500 of their last 600 games or some ridiculous thing like that. And hey, you keep winning, man. People will start to know who you are, even if they don't think you're playing against the best competition. So
yeah.
But I like Iowa State. I did feel bad about that one, but
yeah, because I guess they didn't know. The players didn't know, I guess, that he was leaving. They had no idea.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing I was saying to some other people. Was that people were like, oh, well, they only went 8-4 last year. I said, well, they went 8-4 because they suffered a San Francisco 49ers level of injury set. Like, they had so many injuries. So y'all were, I thought if Iowa State had stayed healthy, I thought you all were on a collision course with Texas Tech for the Big 12 was what I had to think for.
Yeah.
And if Rodgers can kind of keep the momentum going, I think you guys could be right back there in the next, I don't think, maybe 2-3 years, you guys will be right back there. Yeah, it was Becht. Yeah, that sucked. Like, Becht tore his labrum. He wasn't the same the rest of the year. And then you guys lost.
Did he tear it?
Insane. They lost an insane amount of secondary players. Like, they had a crazy number of injuries in the secondary.
Didn't Eskison get hurt too, and Chase Sowell? Didn't they both get hurt?
I don't remember. Yeah, Sowell. I think Sowell was out too. But they lost a ton of guys in the secondary, and then they had a bad stretch and they recovered. Right. Yeah, mid-Cincinnati game. That's right. Yep. That was when Becht got hurt. But I remember, they had a couple of bad games, and then they recovered anyway. Like, even with the injuries they were fighting against, they still finished really strong. So, yeah, Cooper, that's it. Cooper and Williams tore their ACLs. Yep. But it was just a tough year for injuries for Iowa State last year, but like I said, I think you guys will be good. Also, we saw earlier, I don't know if you were here for that, your basketball team currently has the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
Yeah.
So that's
So
also
good
good
job. Good job on that.
Which Iowa State has always been pretty good at basketball. But
Better than us. We suck.
well, that's something we suck. We suck horribly at basketball. At least we got wrestling, man. We're number 1.
Yeah.
Wrestling. But
well, that's another thing too, man. Like I wasn't watching Iowa State last year. I wasn't watching them because I was focused on how bad we were doing, and I never thought Matt Campbell would ever be at Penn State.
Yeah. I had always said if Matt Campbell was going to leave Iowa State, it was going to be for either Ohio State or Penn State, because he had made it very clear he wasn't taking an NFL job because he didn't seem interested, and Brackington, and I knew that if he was going to leave, it would be for a big school that was near his home, where his family is. And that would have to be either Ohio State or Penn State. He wasn't going to take any other job. But I didn't know how he felt about Ohio State and Penn State. I didn't know which job he would prefer. I didn't know, if he had anything against either of them. Like, I didn't know. But I always thought if he was going to leave Iowa State, he was going to take one of those jobs. Which I thought back when Ohio State hired Ryan Day, I actually thought Matt Campbell was going to be their guy. But that didn't end up happening. But then when we needed a coach, I was like, I was surprised we didn't hear Matt Campbell's name sooner. But apparently there was some kerfuffle there. So, but yeah, Matt Campbell was, of all the potential guys for the head coach, Matt Campbell was, I think, 1 on my list. He was number 1. For the same reasons that Josh Pate likes him so much, which is just he knows how to be gritty and he does all the right things. If it worked for the cookie money, yeah. BYU was a bit of they assisted in that. Maybe it would be funny if you guys got revenge on BYU for that and in your game. Are you guys playing this year?
Please beat BYU, please.
The Cookie Monsters. Yeah, the Cookie Monsters. They opened a crumble cookie down here.
Did they really?
They did. Well, I'm not. Listen, I don't make
just a troll
anymore.
job.
Okay.
They're like, all right, let's open one up near Aaron. We've seen him on a podcast. Let's go open one there.
You want to start shit with me, huh?
They're going to open one where I'm at. They're going to open another one right by Brett's house.
Yeah. Well, my one of my sisters was like, "Oh, those are really good, right?" I said, "Don't you dare go in there."
Dude, crumble cookie is horrible for you. Like, it's bad.
I mean, sure, as it's like any serious sweets. So, but yeah, but I think we ended up with the coach I wanted, but I think you are playing them this year. Okay, I hadn't looked at your guys' schedule. Yeah.
Aaron Brockington. Who was that?
Brockington would have been. What was it? Isaiah, that was him, basketball player. I vaguely remember Brockington. Yeah, Isaiah Brockington. Our basketball has been bad for a long time, but yeah, that would have been back. Yeah, okay, that was 5 years ago. That sounds right. I do vaguely remember that. Yeah, that was back when we sort of had like some momentum in basketball, which didn't last very long. So I wouldn't say it was an even exchange, but I guess we got you back for it.
Yeah, definitely wasn't even.
Wasn't exactly fair, but yeah, But Brockington ended up being quite good.
Yeah, he played
he carried Otzelberger's first year. Yeah, he was quite good.
6'4".
Mm-hmm.
Played Birmingham, New Orleans Pelicans. Played in the NBA for 1 year.
Yeah, he made it to the NBA. I do remember that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I forgot that Brockington was on our team. I remembered him as just being an Iowa State guy, actually. So,
who was the coach when he played?
For Iowa State or for us?
For us.
It was 2020, so it would have been still
not Shrewsbury, right?
Was he 2020 still?
I don't think so. It was
Anderson, yeah.
let me hold on. Let me look
2020.
here.
Who was our? Yeah, because I'm drawing a blank. I think we
It
had
was
already.
it was
Was it Shrewsbury?
the guy that got fired. Pat Chambers. It was Pat Chambers.
Oh, it was still Pat Chambers. Okay. In 2020. Yeah. But Chambers, when he first started, it looked like we might get some momentum, but then it kind of didn't. It fizzled out. But
Ed DeChellis, I remember him. Jerry Dunn, obviously.
yeah, done. Yeah. But yeah.
And then he was at Navy for a while, Ed DeChellis.
Yeah. But
hey, you guys got us in basketball. So if you're a basketball fan,
yeah, you're definitely better than us in basketball. And your school is, I would say, the second best wrestling school. Sorry, Iowa fans, but you guys have long been very good at wrestling as well. Oklahoma State fans might get mad that I said that too, but you know.
Yeah, he said we still got you back for Sanderson.
Yeah, for Sanderson. Well, now you got something else to get us back for. Sorry, but for what it's worth, you know, I would pick you guys over the Hawkeyes any day.
Yeah, no offense. We have a Hawkeye fan that comments on here. That'll be a good game, man. Like Iowa plays the same brand of ball every year. They score 10 points on offense. They basically play Pirates baseball of college football. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Except Iowa usually wins. The Pirates don't. So.
Yeah, I know Iowa State's been trapped in that cycle with basketball where you guys make it but can't struggle to get past anybody. Yeah, that's, you know, it happens. We had that problem at Villanova over here in Pennsylvania for a long time until we got a certain coach.
Bro, we literally had 2 live episodes going tonight because Jared did Steelers. I forgot.
Oh, did he run? Was he running?
I didn't know you could do 2 live episodes at once, but yeah, Jared was on there tonight.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he does the Saturday night.
Good old Jared.
Yeah, I know. Iowa has been number 2 to Penn State for a while now in wrestling, but Oklahoma State fell off quite a bit, and they haven't really recovered. But yeah, I still generally thinking, oh yeah, George just listening, just hearing it, getting it from all sides, right? Friggin'.
Were you? That's funny.
Yeah, he was listening to both of them.
How many viewers did he have, George?
But yeah, I still think of Iowa State as the better overall wrestling school, next to more competitive with us anyway. We think of y'all better.
I mean, who's the absolutely, we respect Iowa State. Oklahoma State, Iowa State, us, Ohio State, right? Is that really what?
Yeah, in wrestling, those are like, yeah, Oklahoma State hasn't quite been what they used to be, but Ohio State's been getting better. So, and then hockey is the new territory that everybody's battling in, which you know traditionally was Michigan, Wisconsin, and Michigan State. Which that's starting to shift. Ohio State and Penn State are getting more competitive in it. But yeah, but I wish you nothing but the best. I like watching all football, so I will still be observing Iowa State football, and I will be cheering for you guys.
Like I said, I'm watching Penn State, Virginia Tech, and Iowa State this year.
Oh.
And yeah, Iowa State, like Virginia Tech, they deserve good football.
They do. Yeah,
I mean, they don't understand who they got, but
no, tragically, they'll find out. Unfortunately,
they will, big time.
You know, if it gives them some relief in the short term, great. But again, what's it worth to you? It's not the same thing as like Texas Tech with what was it worth to you to play Brandon Sorsby? Is it worth the next 30 years of your program?
Bro, Virginia Tech is going to be left in flames when he leaves.
It's scary. It's scary that their president got fired and that their AD got fired, and like you just wonder like how much authority are they giving a football coach?
And I'll say this too, Iowa State fans, you can be happy. One, you're not Virginia
Thank God
Tech.
you don't have him. Yeah.
Two, you're not Notre Dame. Notre Dame is the laughingstock of college football, and none of your fans are even remotely as brain dead as Ohio State fans. Most of them.
No, there's no world. I don't think I've ever met anyone from Iowa.
Silver lining, you're none of them. So be happy about that.
But,
so,
yeah. So, but yeah, man. Well, I guess it's about time to call it a night for me.
You good? We got 30 more seconds till we're at 3 hours.
Oh, jeez. All right. Hold it. Hang in there for 30 more.
30 more seconds.
Yeah, you got to beat the over. So, but you think? Yeah. Right. Do you think he would violate? Do you think he usually plays by the rules, but then again, he just hasn't been caught. So that doesn't necessarily mean he actually plays by the rules. What George just said. Like, does he have? Do you think he does violations behind the scenes?
He absolutely has done shady stuff. Absolutely.
I mean, there's no question he's shady. It's just a question of like, has he done something he could actually get in trouble for someday?
Dude, I'm telling you, George. There's stuff that I know that I'm not going to say on here, but there's stuff that I can tell you.
Yeah, we may find out
that your jaw would drop if you knew some of the stuff that I know about him.
Yeah, I wonder. And we'll talk about that later. But like, yeah, I wonder if that could be considered that, which would be interesting. I don't know. The NCAA's rules are kind of funny. So, but
yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, I always wondered that because we had a scandal.
Mm-hmm.
When was the hammer going to drop on him? Because I know he was doing stuff that.
Yeah,
I was afraid that because he had stuff for Vanderbilt. You know, there was this girl and stuff like that.
Weird stuff. Yeah, there was a little bit of weirdness there. I remember. It'll be interesting. Yeah, you're right, George. Actually, given his propensity towards headlines, yeah, something might go south if things aren't going well. But we'll see. But it's very interesting. Very interesting point.
All right, guys. So we're at 3:01. So we made it 3 hours. And I could keep talking, man, but yeah, we need to get some sleep.
Well, I'm already having trouble naming names and even pronouncing things properly. So I think I'm about.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bad.
Yeah. So. But
all right, guys. College football is 78 days away.
Looking forward to it.
I'm going to look up week 0 real quick. 2026. Who is week 0? They just need to make week 0 week 1.
I know.
Okay, we got North Carolina, TCU.
Oh, they're up first this time.
We got 5 games, week 0.
Really? Oh, that's right. They did add more to week 0, didn't they?
San Jose at USC. Holy crap.
USC's in the opener. 0.
Hawaii at Stanford. New Mexico State at Florida State. Goodness gracious. Memphis at UNLV. Wow, that's a good lineup.
So they're actually putting some teams into week 0 now, which is nice.
Yeah, like if you're gonna make week 0, make it something. Like don't just make one game. That's BS.
Yeah, they really should have a highlight game too. Like why don't they? Like I don't know. I know it's hard with teams that play in the same conference, but why not use like that or why not use that BYU Notre Dame game? Shove that into week 0.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting at least. Right?
Make week 0 like a consistent matchup. Make it like a big game. Make it like a good kickoff game, like North Carolina, Florida State or something. You know what I mean? Like make it respectable. Make a big game.
Yeah, have some fun with it. But
yeah,
at least there's a few more games this time around. So,
all right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for all the comments. George, thanks for the donation. Had a lot of comments. I always turn on monetization before the episode, make sure it's on. And I guess it didn't save. So the monetization wasn't on this whole episode, which sucks. But.
That's all right. Probably something I would have said. I got you demonetized anyway.
Yeah. Dude, Brett was on for what? Brett lasted quite a while tonight. He's on for what, an hour and a half?
Yeah, he's on for the first hour. So,
But he could probably stay on. He has bad eyes, bad hip, bad leg,
yeah, it's just tough.
bad back. Got a concussion recently, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Good night's sleep is critical
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. All right, guys. Again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. Help us get to 2,000 subs. Check out markleskopodcast.com. Uplift Pickleball Paddles. And doing the 2,000 sub giveaway goes to the highest commenter. So I think George, I'm going to have to look at the analytics, but George has got to be up there.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Have a good night. And we will see you next week. We are Penn State. Happy Father's Day.
Have a good night.